you talking about? Jimmy something? Jimmy Witherspoon? Or
Nobody knew who he was.
Lewis.
Jimmy.
Who's this Jimmy?
Lewis.
Jimmy.
Who's this Jimmy?
Jimmy Lewis.
Who's this Jimmy?
Lewis.
Who's this Jimmy?
Just kept on doing it.
Live from Pahrump, Nevada, the Valley of the Dirt People, it's Tech Talk, Taco Tuesday, with your hosts, Jimmy Lewis and
George Justice.
How was that?
George is good. That was pretty good. You cut it off just right.
Yeah. So welcome to the show again, and it's not the 200th, John R. I'm sorry. We're 203 episodes into this, we'll call it the pod show. This awesome pod show where we talk about motorcycle and motorcycle product related questions. My name is Jimmy Lewis, and if you don't know, George, did you know I used to be a professional motorcycle racer?
Racer.
Racer, yeah.
Okay.
A
Which means, and professionals defined by what? You get paid, right?
You get paid. Yeah, I had a
race.
couple good years, really good years.
You had some really good years.
I had some good years. I made some monies.
I heard that. I read that in a history book, I think, in grammar school.
So, yeah, I don't really like to talk much about myself on the show unless somebody else brings it up. But since I
Brought it up.
I'll just keep going. Why am I sitting here answering motorcycle and motorcycle product related questions?
Because I think you enjoy passing things on to people that maybe don't have access to that information easily, and you also do it pretty candidly where you're not a total shill. You know, you say what you feel, and that's probably why you're not a millionaire, because if you were a shill, you would have been making money just saying what people wanted to say.
You've often said somehow I'm adverse to making money.
You repel money. I see it all the time.
I couldn't help it, but you want to know how I made really good money when I was racing? That back when I was racing, one way
Changing tires.
Yeah, $10 a pop,
Right.
so I could go to the International 6 Days Enduros, which, by the way, I don't like to bring this up all the time, but like, there's a reason there's 4 gold medals sitting on that.
I saw those, and I should have
yeah.
worn mine.
Really?
I think it's in my trailer.
Yeah.
I'm going to wear it one of these days, and we'll compare and contrast, because mine's like, the size of one of those big watches the rappers wear.
And I mean, I don't mean to poo-poo. I only have 4 of them. I mean, there's guys that have a lot. I got it. So on tonight's show brought to you by Yamaha, Moto, Scott Sports, Climb, DDC, Fasst Company, Bulletproof Designs and Double Take Mirrors, by the way.
Trail Tech
as well. Did I slip out?
That was the only one that slipped by.
I was
got a
getting out of
list
the
here.
corner of my eye. The only reason I have 4 gold medals is they were so easy to get. Like, I'm like, I got 4. What more do you need? I mean, how many do you need to collect? I decided to go do something else like rally racing, which was, for me, I thought it was more in my wheelhouse. I thought I could go win the Paris to Dakar rally, but that was harder than it seemed. And I only did that 3.5 times.
You competed 3.5. Once.
3.5 times. One
No.
time didn't go so well. Diarrhea.
I thought one time you had a digestive problem.
It's called diarrhea.
That's what took you out, but you've gotten hurt pretty bad at that too, right?
Well, career-ending injuries, but that's nothing.
But did you finish on those when you got
Yeah,
hurt?
I finished.
Wow.
I finished with a broken collarbone, but that only happened on the last day. The wrists were way earlier. It was really stupid. But I had really big win bonuses. Okay, we help answer your questions. The reason I'm here doing this is because I've done so well over the years, had so much fun with dirt bikes. I really do want to share it. And whether I'm trying to help build an off-road park for kids in town, or I am sitting here just jibber-jabbering about dirt bikes to help you, whether you've been doing this for 80 years like some of my friends, or you're just getting started, we really want to help you. We want to make this a little bit entertaining. I like to lob crap out at my friends, especially, make them.
Do you have to turn on something so people can chat?
No, they're all there. They can chat on the platform. So if you're on YouTube or
It just said
Facebook,
it's ready, but
yeah, it's ready. But and Mark Daniels showed up a little late, and he's only having a Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. He doesn't even have his extra tea in there because he's not as cool as me right now. And I have tonight. Oh, because the 5th tea is for tequila, George. You don't drink anymore, so
no, not at the moment.
Not at the moment. You're just passing up. But tonight I think I'm going to do Milagro Silver. Is that okay?
That's good stuff.
Well,
We've had that before.
I'll have you pour a little
that?
bit, just a little tiny one in there.
Jimmy asked me before the show if this would trigger something.
Yeah, there's no triggers
I
here.
don't have any triggers. I just quit drinking. There was no DUIs.
There's poor kid named Jaden Hilton. I don't know if he's a kid. It's probably a hot chick, really, because that's the only people that really want to talk to me all the time. Is trying to get on me in the Instagrams, because something else we do is we do it. Wow, that's a full pull. I usually pour it about to here.
Yeah, I know, but this is going to be fun.
Oh, you're gonna help make
get interesting.
You're gonna help make the show better.
Yeah.
Should I put on my Scott goggles? These aren't beer goggles. These are Scott goggles, and definitely some of my favorite goggles. And you know what I hate about this is I have to keep this as a show prop, and I want to wear these ones. This is the 6-day. The 6-day special edition. You can still get these on Scott's website. So limited edition, special edition for the 6 days this year.
But that's just colors and stuff, right? It's a Prospect goggle.
Prospect,
is that right? Yeah.
Good goggle.
I bought those, before Scott was on board with you and everything.
Right.
And I bought it because they made that transition lens, which is what I like.
Yep. Yeah. Transition lenses. This one has the amplified lens, and so cool. But the good thing about those goggles is they just fit. Period.
What's amplified do?
It obviously does something to make everything pop. It's like, when you're on Instagram,
like
you put a filter on your on your thing, and it makes your pictures look better. Well, it makes the ground look better.
So send up a thumb or something across the screen if you want George to overserve Jimmy during the show.
Overserved. But anyways, if you ask questions in the chat, so we're live on Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night at about 7 p.m. We go through the questions. We have questions from the videos on our YouTube videos. Almost 20,000. Our engagement was up like 35,000 people this week for some reason.
What was the stat you gave me on the Cove thing?
The Cove had a whole bunch of views because another YouTuber pointed people in our direction, and I don't know how or where. I don't have time to go and search all this stuff out. I'm pretty busy getting my fingers into stuff I shouldn't, or doing the stuff that should have been done for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I used to
take out the trash,
pet my cat.
Yeah.
Load the paint.
Need a cat
paintball.
petter?
Yeah, I need a cat petter, and I need somebody to come in here and push more of these buttons. Is what I really need. So I can push like these things. Oh boy, here I can go and see. I can make it look at me, and then there's another one that I think. Look at, you're called the Logan Cam.
Oh wow, I
Yeah,
don't think I look like Logan.
That's you, yeah, Logan. Well, I cut Logan out of the intro.
So
pushing
how
the
many
button.
how many views did you have on that Cove thing or whatever? What
It's like
36,000 or something.
30,000, 40,000.
That's pretty cool. Only dwarfed
For
by the 3 million views of the video taken by someone in this room, not Jimmy,
Right.
of the 1190 all-wheel drive adventure bike. It's over 3 million, I think. I should pull it up and look at it.
It's
That's pretty crazy.
If you can go on a rant later on tonight and just start talking about something, I will call it up and find out how many people have looked at it. But it's like a. So here's how that worked, George. Just by the
All-wheel
way,
drive adventure bike.
I know you like to claim that you're a high-profile shooter now. You're video
No,
guy.
that was just one and done. I took it. We took it out. Jim and I were riding. I stopped on that hill right where you did.
And
I
I
said,
rode
watch
up.
this.
I rode up to you and I said, "Hey, watch this. Why don't you watch it through the lens of my camera?" So I handed him my phone.
No, you didn't. It's on my phone.
It's on your phone.
See how you distort things in your mind? It's
I
too
only-
much tequila.
I only
You
remember.
should try my program, Jimbo.
I only
Clear your mind.
remember what I need to remember. So
How you need to remember
I said,
it,
"Here,
too.
shoot a video of this," and we shot a couple little clips, and I put one on the tubes of you, and it's all
It just
it's all
took
good.
off. All-wheel drive adventure bike, I think
Yeah.
is the hit on the thing.
Yeah, search it. It still goes like crazy because people can't believe what it does. And if Steve Christini is listening, which I think did I pick the Christini as my worst bike ever? I think I did. I think I picked it. Yeah, I did. Not the Christini concept, just the one Christini.
Yeah.
Because when we went to worst bike ever, and by the way, Jay Clark over at Dirt Bike TV, you owe me your worst bike ever. Still, he won't say anything bad because he's not part of that generation, the everything's good generation. But I actually picked the Christini bike as my worst bike ever, and not for anything to do with the all-wheel drive system. It was because it was built on one of those Chinese platforms that had a fuel injection system that wasn't ready for prime time, and I spent more time playing with that, trying to get it right. and we were constantly dealing with software
Yeah, I
issues and
remember that was
updates. And the minute we'd get it okay, they'd update to something better, quote better, because it actually had more sensors in it, and we'd spend more time working on it. And it was painful. I mean, it was good, but it was good to do the development for them and stuff. But it was just painful. And so my criteria for the worst bike ever was something that I felt should be so much better than it was, and that I spent way too much time working on. And in that, we were working on this video that I still could actually do if I wanted to. It was the advantages of a two-wheel drive motorcycle, all-wheel drive motorcycle. And so I have a Honda-based Christini. So it's a CRF 250X that has the Christini platform on it. And then I've had the all-wheel drive adventure bike, which is also the Christini platform. And so I have a lot of experience with this. And I kid you not, my Honda that it was based on, the ignition went out on it. We had to tow it back. And then I had another one. We had
on the Honda. The real Honda.
The Honda. The nothing. So it's like it seems like anytime I was sitting on something that was had it, so I just had a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, I mean, as I recall, all the problems with that overseat, that Chinese-based one, was little things like switches, seemed to be built really poorly, and and then the ECU had a lot of trouble and hiccups. And
it's a knockoff of a Honda 450X, and they fuel injected it even before Honda did. But they used a very antiquated fuel injection system, and it could work, but it just wasn't. The computer wasn't fast enough to do what it needed to do. And I mean, now you look at the Cove, which is kind of a big thing on our world right now. Cove is killing it.
Maybe Cove and Christini should look at a collaboration.
Well, there was a guy that built
Cove Steenie.
Cove
You heard it here first. Remember that.
Okay.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to add on that whole project, the adventure bike thing didn't take off. The big bike.
That's the one. That's the one that should have taken off. It was,
and that's just because Christini's done other things, right? They're busy doing other things. Because you broke it.
Bicycles.
I got to tell you, I was there for the break, and you were taxing it really hard. And
you understand what my job was with that particular vehicle,
right? To find that, push it to that failure,
to break it.
I was just cringing with what you were doing on it.
It broke a couple times because it was delivered to the customer previous to it being thoroughly tested. Then they didn't want those things to happen again, so that's why I got it. And then I ramp up the testing. I did normal stuff, and then when it passed all the normal stuff, then I beat the crap out of it. And it was like literally every week a box would come from Christini with some new parts. These are updated. This is beefed up. This is failure point. And they kind of knew, but it needed to be done by a certain date, and it kind of just got done quickly. And then they refined it, and it was good. All-wheel drive for adventure bikes. It's just like
it'll come around.
I'm pretty sure, especially with electric, but the same. There's different things, but when it's just like your trucks, okay? Everybody has four-wheel drive trucks, and how much do you use four-wheel drive?
You were just reading my mind because I was going to insert that into this conversation. I wondered if motorcycles will ever get to that,
where it's an option
when the cost point's right. And the weight and everything, and it doesn't make that big a difference.
Cost point. A motorcycle is a luxury item, so you want to buy more luxury.
Yeah, but you don't want a $6,000 add-on to a $10,000 bike, But as those merge, where it's a closer thing, and you get it on the resale, like with four-wheel drive on a truck.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people might get it, and maybe they'll never use it, but when they use it, it'll be cool.
Okay, I fully agree. I thought there was some manufacturers that were going to jump onto it, but I think it's a cost thing and a couple other things, and maybe with this electric stuff it'll kind of come. And I think they're hoping that the electric will make it so you don't have to use the mechanical system, which you're going to have to get your electronics down pretty good, because if my experience with electronic sort of fly-by-wire anything so far that starts doing traction control sensing and stuff. If you think tuning like an ECU for jetting or something is complicated, you should work on controlling wheel spin, because everybody has a different thing. But if it's one-to-one, in other words, it's driving through a chain and sprocket, then it's a little bit easier. So Bill O'Neill says it's not he's not an influencer, but he's in charge of something. And then dirt bike, he said that he got the updates for the Christini, and it was much better. And Asher, who won our Rooster Endo a few weeks ago, has to go to Bible study right now. So
Oh, you can restream it.
he has to leave.
My link you said won't refresh or whatever, so I don't get any of that.
What?
But that's okay. If I go like this, I can read those,
Through the bottom
but
of the
I
thing.
have to go through my transition bifocal things. or
Two-wheel drive is aberration. Is that text to speak? Says C. Marsh. I don't know.
something. Yeah, you got to dumb it down for us third grade English kids up here.
Okay, so the stuff we do here on the show is answer the questions. I'm going to shut off the live Grandma Instas over here because I'm going to be taking a call a little bit later from Trevor Hunter, who, by the way, got to ride this.
You want to hit that button there?
Yeah, I'm going to hit this button. Hold on, YZ. Oh, why did I have YZ Action? He got to ride that. So, yeah, end this now. And then, whoa, I got an award again. Ding. Yeah, continue. And we'll do this. So, yeah, Trevor rode the YZ. I wonder if he can talk about it. So, that's the question. A lot of times they embargo this stuff, and so we'll see we'll see what Trevor can talk about later on in the show. Other things we can talk about. Tenere 700, we're going to talk about some of that. And if you're watching this on the internet, you're seeing what I'm doing. But if you're not, then you're listening to the show. So that's the bike that Trevor rode today.
Can you even show that picture?
Yeah, we can show it. The pictures were released a while ago.
What was it? It was a YZ what?
YZ250F, the new YZ250F. So
What's all that mean?
Yamaha introduced a brand new 2024 Yamaha YZ250F. By the way, Yamaha Blue Crew, best
what's
bikes ever. Yeah,
what's the F model?
F is the motocrosser.
Okay.
F means 4-stroke. And YZ is YZ. If it's a FX, then that means it's an off-road one. And that's how they do it. So, okay.
Want to get into these questions really quick?
Let's start diving into some questions. So a lot of these questions come from our chat. If you've been participating in the chat, if you throw a question up in the chat, I will answer it. And but like Desert Adventure says, do you prefer clip or rivet master links? In all honesty, Desert Adventures, I prefer clips because they take a long time to wear out. And then if you do have to take the chain off, there's I would say, 92% chance that the clip is in a location when something goes really bad that you can actually pop the clip off to get the chain off if it bunches up someplace else. And just keep an eye on it, and you're never going to have any problems with them if they're installed properly and you know what you're doing. Rivets, for sure. Some people think in racing applications it's better to do that. But like almost everything I've seen with motorcycles, if you're not a professional mechanic, you really know what you're doing, if it takes a certain level of skill, you're probably going to screw it up. And I think riveting a master link takes more skill than popping a master link clip on there.
I had one of the flat track race pit guys I was talking to, and they change chain lengths a lot with their gearing and everything, so they do stuff. But they were saying never use a master clip after you take it off. Use it once and get rid of it in a racing type application.
Yeah, racing application.
But do the big bikes, like the adventure bikes, is there a clip option or are they all rivets?
There's clips on them. Yeah,
on the real big ones?
Yeah, on the big ones, yeah, as well. I have Anthony Z says, do the AER cartridges fit in the Explore forks? Let's see, Anthony. Everybody hates the stock Explore forks and the AER cartridges. I don't know if it's just a drop-in. I have never tried to do that, but that would be interesting to find out. That's a great question. I don't see if the thread pitches and the lengths are the same. I don't see why they wouldn't, because they like to keep a lot of that stuff similar. But yeah, there's probably a lot of those cartridges. Yeah, probably a lot of those cartridges around because everybody's converting over to springs. But the The AER is actually, I don't have too many problems with that. And then Road Racer 3R says, sorry I'm late. Not sure if it's needed to ask, but how's the Tenere build coming? It's coming along. I got a new part for it, a new big part for it today. I've done a little bit of riding since I did my last thing, and we have some questions, so I'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, it's coming good. I just wish it's finally cooling down. It's finally down to where it's tolerable to go riding. And so I'll probably get a little bit more on that particular bike. Been on the computer too much.
Yeah, you have all day today.
Yeah.
Got any more in the chat there that we need to look at?
Yeah, Steven Stanton says, what's your go-to for chain maintenance? I like to have a chain that doesn't require maintenance.
There you go.
Yeah, I start with a good O-ring chain. A name brand, a good quality chain. You're probably going to save yourself 30% of the hassle just by doing that. It depends on where you live and what kind of conditions you're at. The more abrasive the dirt and the ground is, the harder it's going to be on any chain, and it just gets exponential on lower quality chains. So that kind of being said, there's not a lot you can do about the stuff being abrasive, but if you do have a DDC sprocket, like that one right there, DDC, one of the original sponsors of the show. If you have a nice stainless steel sprocket that's super lightweight for being stainless steel, that pretty much, I would say in our conditions, they last forever, but even in abrasive conditions, they last longer. If you have a good quality sprocket, good quality stain, you're going to get extra life. Your maintenance is minimized. But what I do recommend is that you keep it from corrosion. So I like to keep like either a lube or a rust penetrant or a water displacing something or other on a chain. And if I had a sponsor, I'd be pimping their chain lube right now, because there's a lot of really good chain lubes out there. But I could have thrown in a sponsor plug right now. No oil sponsors here, so use whatever you want. Chain lube is better than no chain lube. Penetrant oil is better than no penetrant oil. Put it on the bike when you're done riding. When you get done riding, throw the bike up in the stand, lean it up the kickstand, put some stuff on it, spin it, and that's going to save you all of the corrosion-related problems that could arise from.
And that's because it's warm, right?
It's warm.
In your opinion,
it sucks in a little bit. Yeah, it'll get into the O-rings a little bit, and that way it doesn't sit and corrode. The chain lube, the whatever, kind of protects it. And then when you go to ride again, it's dried on there, it's stuck on there, it's not going to fling off. All these kind of things. Or you could go watch that other guy that does internet videos that says you should just put oil on it, which is better than putting nothing on it.
Don't people like soak them in diesel and all kinds of stuff like that? People take them off and go through this whole process.
How many bikes are out there, George? Are there 70 motorcycles out there?
Here? Yeah. Oh,
are there any of them that have the chains off of them that are soaking oil or hanging up?
Yeah.
How many miles do those things get ridden? I mean,
you
collectively.
You can spin out on any of these. I've been really neglectful with my chains. I never check spokes or anything. I'm just,
because stuff's so good these days.
I don't fly off of stuff intentionally.
So good. Okay, is George liberating some of the agave spirits, or is he out for good?
No, I'm 301 or 2 days in.
Oh, he might be going for a whole year, Victor. He's
no rules. I could start tonight, but yeah, just decided one day I'd give it a try. Sleep better.
Yeah. Okay. And Flynn says, hello, George. It's good to see you.
Hi, Flynn. Do I know Flynn?
I don't know. I think the same thing. It's good to see you, George.
Good to see you, Jimmy.
Yeah.
It's fun to be here. I was trying to get out of town before I saw you, but then I saw you, and you just kept talking me into staying longer and longer.
Tried to turn and burn. Why does everybody hate the Explorer forks, says Jim Jarbush. I have them on my 18 Husqvarna TE250. That's the white one. What's the problem? The problem is that some media and a lot of suspension tuners want to complain because bad news travels faster than good news. So the media, instead of actually taking the time to make sure they have the right springs in them and to make sure the oil level's right and to actually play with the clickers, they go, the fork sucks. And these media, they shouldn't be media, but because they don't test things, they just ride it and
But they have followers. They reach a lot
lots
of people.
of followers.
That's the problem with everything now.
So
is
they
followers.
say this, and then the suspension tuners love it because then it's like, oh yeah, I can fix it. And there's guys that know how to do stuff with those that can fix them, and there's other guys that basically take them apart, probably put the right fork springs in them, the right oil level in them, maybe change a shim or two, which, like, good God, if you can feel it. If you haven't adjusted, you spent a lot of time adjusting your clickers and telling your suspension tuner what you want. You just said, make it better. Bring your forks to me. I'll make them better.
Give you $1,000.
$1,000
bucks. Clickers. And ride
$1,000.
around.
I guarantee.
You'll
I will
ride it out in the front yard.
I will
there.
guarantee. I can do it. You can't watch. You cannot watch what I do. You'll stand on the other side of the building, but I can do it faster than any suspension tuner. I can get your forks turned around. You bring the bike in, and I could probably do a really good job in 4 to 6 minutes. And I'll give you your bike back, $1,000 guaranteed. And if it doesn't work, if you bring your bike here and I do your forks, your whatever kind of, it doesn't matter what forks, just any forks. I can do any of them. You bring it back, flip it around, and I will give you 95% of your money back if it doesn't work better than when you let me touch that bike.
So you
4 to
get
6 minutes.
$100 for 4 minutes, or
90,
maybe
five-
1,000.
$50.
Okay.
$50. Something like, I don't know. I don't do math.
No.
Yeah. Okay, George. What's our
Long time ago we were in
let's-
school, huh?
It's Brian. It's Brian Love is Flynn. You know Brian Love?
Brian Love. I'd have to see a picture and put it into context. I'm terrible with names.
Yeah. I got to figure out which camera is your camera. There you go. Questions.
What'd you do? Put it on me? I
Yeah.
don't know if I like that.
Yeah, it's okay.
So what's the topic of all these first ones here? Is there a topic there? Sorry, you're mid-drink.
No, we're just gonna run it straight up. Hey, Fasst Company, www.fastco.com. Cole was on show number 202, talked a lot about handlebars, how to get the right handlebar, how to communicate with Fasst Company if you'd like to get handlebars. They also make spoke wrenches, really cool brake clevises. This one right here is going to go on my YZ125 because I need to make it more tricker-ish, and they can mountain bike handlebars. I wonder if Jim has mountain bike handlebars on his bike. He's
I don't
a
know,
Fasst
but
Company guy.
I got to tell you, the Recluse
Yep.
show and that Fasst Company
Yeah.
are even making me, well, one, we talked about it. I'm probably going to get a couple of those new Recluses and throw them in my bikes to try them.
Yep.
But listen to the Fasst Company conversation, I just never felt the need, so I never drank that Kool-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
But I might try them. I might fool around with it.
You should. I actually just hop on one of my bikes that has it in there. Actually,
Well,
take
every
my,
time I ride your bike,
dude,
they're dialed. I mean,
take
they're
my
not-
300. Just take my 300 and just go ride around the yard. Put it like in fourth gear and go really slow around the yard. And then take your 300 and put it in fourth gear and go really slow around the yard. And you'll be on the phone. And then same thing with all. It's just like, hey, the only reason I know this stuff is because I test it and I spend time doing it. And I wouldn't jabber about it unless I really felt it was beneficial or would help. So,
Cool. Get into these.
How do I get my 14-year-old to give a damn about body position, says JAS4.
Well, that was the key. My 14-year-old. That's like, how do I get my wife to do this? And your podcast, I think, was about some of that, wasn't it? With Dave?
With just Dave. We just
Yeah.
released a Better Rider podcast with my buddy Dave Donatoni. We talked about the difficulties in teaching somebody that you care about, somebody that you're attached to, child, wife, girlfriend, close friend. If you want to maintain a relationship with them, listen to that podcast and then send them to my school. But how do you get your 14-year-old to give a damn about body position? Okay, here's what you do. Take pictures of them and then tag them on their Instagram account or Twitter talk account. Take pictures of them, tag them on their Twitter account, and say, hey, look, this guy should go to Jimmy Lewis Off-Road Training. That's www.jimmylewisoffroad.com if you want to be a better rider. And I promise you that your 14-year-old cannot do the drills in my basic rider course. So we have a basic rider course. It's $50. So spend $50 on your kid. Come on. Spend the $50. There's lessons, which you watch online, you watch the videos, and then there's drills, and you take those. They take them on their phone, and then they learn how to do it, and then they go out and do the drill. They try to do it. That's when you videotape them, and then you tag them on the like I was just talking about. it's a secret. Don't tell anybody. But they will at that point and just say, look, Jimmy Lewis, like he won the Baja 1000. Do you want to win the Baja 1000? Listen to this guy.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, you can't. There's a communications block in there somehow, and it's not a bad relationship or anything. It's just, when we have, like, if my wife comes to this class, I'm not supposed to talk to her.
I don't let you.
That's one of the rules.
I really separate husbands and wives. And actually, Better Rider episode number 1, our very number 1 episode of Better Rider, it's me and my wife. And we talk about this.
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
and poor Heather, thinking what she had to go through. I mean, she's been with you listening to your nonsense. She was like 12 or something like that.
I was allegedly, according to Racer X magazine at the time, one of the best motorcycle riders in the world. Best all-around motorcyclist in the world.
I thought you didn't like to talk about yourself. Here we go again.
Well,
Let's
you brought it up.
Questions.
You brought it up. And she didn't want to listen
sorry.
to how to be the best motorcycle rider in the world. Go ahead, fill it up, George. Just not like only half this time. So, anyways, yeah, your 14-year-old will give a damn about potty position when it gets him or her more chicks or dudes or whatever they're into. That's when it's going to make a difference, not because you think it matters. Send them my way. I'll straighten them out. I'm good for the kids.
It's going to make a difference when they have their aha moment and feel it. Something feels better.
Hey, I don't like talking about myself, but I sure do like to look at myself. And when I have double take mirrors on my motorcycle, most people think that I use those mirrors on my dual sport bikes to, see what's behind me. But I actually face it at myself and just look at myself while I ride.
That does not surprise me one bit.
Go to double take mirrors. Just search double take mirrors, and if you need some of those suckers, give me a jingle on the internet somehow or another, and I can get you a discount code.
You should also have a class on.
My wife is in the chat, and she says, "Do you really want me to explain why I suffered all those years?"
Yeah, call in, talk about it for a minute.
Oh boy, no. It's so that she could put herself in the position to support me in the lifestyle that I've become accustomed to.
It worked out for Jimmy. Sorry, Heather.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah. Hit another question over there.
Okay. Two-wheel drive stroke. 6 days ago. When I started riding last year, I never would have thought that I'd enjoy an hour-long show on the intricacies of a clutch. So he too is talking about that Recluse show. So that's pretty neat.
Right. That's sometimes if you get into it, if you geek out on this stuff, if you want to hear about who's looking good and who went fast and stuff, then this isn't the show for you. But if you have a good technical question and we try to make it entertaining, thank you. I appreciate that. I know Mike does too, and hopefully they come back for some little bit of advertising to make this show work, because if it wasn't for companies like Trail Tech, for instance, we were putting up Trail Tech survey for the new Voyage. They're working on a new GPS unit, and they wanted to know what riders felt about that. And so they reach out to us and say, hey, can you share this information? And you can participate in product testing just like I do every once in a while.
Yeah, I've been waiting to try one out for about 3 years.
All you need is a ram ball, buddy, and I can clip that thing on there.
And
then we can do buddy tracking, George, and then that way you can.
I got ram balls all over those bikes. Hey, next question or comment. The 9000, 6 days ago. Idea for show segment, because Jimmy solicited that, wondered in the 200th episode. A ride area mini review, i.e. Wasatch Range, Hatfield, McCoy, Octillo. Even if you have personally not been there, spend 10 minutes talking all about the destination for riding. So why don't you spend 30 seconds right now talking about some epic destination of riding?
Oh, you're not going to get any of that out of me. This is something I fundamentally disagree with.
No, just generally in an area.
No,
you don't have to rant about that.
Nope.
The East Coast.
Nope.
That's not too.
No. Here's my thing. This is the thing. It's so easy to share stuff. Like, I'm sharing knowledge freely here, and because I want you to make something better. But everybody and their brother wants to know where the best place is. You know where the best place is? It's where most people are not. And the minute you share that, the minute you give it away, you say, oh, I got and you might just want to tell one of your best friends or maybe two, but one of your best friends, like you're all my best friends. It's the only reason I'm talking to you right now.
All four of you.
You're going to take that information and you're going to tell 10 other people. And then two of those guys are going to tell everybody. And all of a sudden the best area is now overcrowded. it took me work to find out the places that I go riding. And when I go to an area that's overcrowded, I don't go back there because it's overcrowded. I go find a new place, and I don't talk about it. I don't share it. You should pride yourself in finding good areas, and then make sure that the people that go there have earned the right to go there. In other words, they have either put work in on trails at other places. They're smart about this. They're not just going to toss up their track logs onto the internet and say, "Go look at all these bitchin' trails and whatever."
So this is like
you don't want to invite a bunch of consumers. You want productive people to show up and be good members. You know, it's just like when you go to a shooting area, and I promise you that 90% of the people that are shooting, maybe 95% of the people are shooting, pick up their trash and they're good, decent people. But it's that 5% that give everybody a bad reputation. And then they get kicked out of areas, and then the new shooting area goes to crap, and it just.
I'm just a consumer, Jimmy. Most of us are just consumers. But no, I've heard that rant many times here before, and I get it.
And so why don't I talk about areas? It's just for that. Number one, I want to set an example. It's a principle that I believe in, and I would love to share the places that I get to go and ride, and sometimes you get to see them through pictures, but I hope it motivates you to go out and find those spots on your own. And if you spend as much time as I do riding in shitty areas, I ride a lot of crap to find where the good is. And as much crap as I've ridden in, because some places somebody said, "Oh, this is a great area to ride." And I kind of went along with it, and I went there, and like, well, guess what? 8,000 other people found out it before I did, you know? And I get invited to go riding in a lot of really cool places, in unbelievable places, private property, just different areas, places that you dream of riding. I get invited to go there because I won't talk about it.
So I'm going to call that national park syndrome. This is why I hate going to national parks now, because they're just crowded with idiots trying to, you know,
It's like 405
go pet the
traffic going
buffalo or
through,
whatever.
go through Zion or Yellowstone.
But I get that. But
yeah,
it's
I'm
not.
You know what? You need to have places for stupid people that are consumers to go ride. You need to have those areas, and just leave them there.
Well, they're OHV parks.
Let the animals, and the people that want to look at the animals go to the zoo, and then you go over to the nice wildlife preserve where you can watch
Somebody's
and
texting
participate.
me because you've been
Talking for too long.
talking too long. Yeah. Okay. At Dean Simmons 4101, my 22 YZ450FX has a hard time keeping up with my fan with the Tusk lithium battery. I hate push starting my bike. Thanks. On RMA TV, Rocky Mountain Adventure TV, the part number on the stator for the 22 WR450 is different than the box in your video. Just order it, ? So I got it a stator and flywheel from a 22 WR. It looks identical. The flywheel has a different part number than the stock one. How do I know if it will produce more power without installing it and trying? I expect more lightning coil posts. Can you mix and match regulators with stators?
Yes. So there's the he's talking about a post that Trevor did, I believe, and I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this because I didn't do it, but I think the WR flywheel has more magnets in it running around a similar stator, and that's what's producing the extra power. I don't know if the parts are the same or different. I don't know, but if you mix and match those combinations, you get different power outputs. I'm not a physioelectrolyst or whatever they call those people.
So can you plug like a high output stator into a regular regulator?
To a certain extent, and if you're drawing the power, it's not a problem. The minute you start trying to bleed that power off, it becomes problematic.
But let's get back to the root issue. Is it something he's doing to heat the bike up, you think, or he says the fan won't keep up?
No, he's you want to know how to make that fan turn off? Learn how to use your clutch.
That's where I was going.
Okay, that's number one. Just like, let's get to the root cause of the problem. But anyway, so
get a recluse maybe.
It could. But usually people that slip their clutch all the time tend to slip their clutch even with the recluse in it because they keep doing it because they don't trust it. But if you want to, that fan running all the time should not kill a battery on a FX. I don't think that's what he said he had. It was an FX, right?
Yeah.
It shouldn't kill the battery on the FX. But you can check, get the bike running. Simple. Get the bike running, get it hot, get the fan to come on. Check how much power is going on the battery. If it's over 12.5 volts, you're good. If it's down to like 12.2, 12.3, you're running at a discharge. It's gonna be a problem. Then you need to look into this kind of stator thing, and are you running other stuff? And I don't think the fan alone would cause that much of a problem, because I think Yamaha actually sells a fan kit. Or you know what? Should have got a WR. New WR. Awesome. My project bike. Hold on. I have a picture of my project bike someplace I was going to put up on the thing. We'll figure out if I can find it.
You said something really interesting once about power and stuff like that.
No, that's the new one. That's the 20. That's going to be the 24. You get to see that for a second, but I might put it up there. Doesn't matter. So
anyway, you said we were talking about
that
the
one
recluse.
time I said something interesting.
Yeah, once. You were talking about the recluse, and you said, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the door it opened was that lowest end of the power band to you, sort of. The
recluse clutch.
The recluse clutch, with a manual clutch, you probably would have been very unlikely to test that low, thumpity thump part of the power band, maybe the lowest 2% of it. And it kind of opened up that door and made you aware. Yeah. Oh, there's still a lot of torque right there.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. And this was a long time ago. This is 20 some odd years ago that I learned this.
But I thought that was a really good point.
Yeah. Here's the scenario, says David Kessler. He's a senior vintage wanting to ride vintage motocross. Newest year model allowed is the year 2000. What would be your unicorn bike to compete on? Well, here's the scenario for me. Year 2000 bikes, and I got a few of them. We've come a long ways. And if I had to compete on vintage motocross year 2000, at this point, they're all the same. They're all so crappy compared to what we're currently riding today. YZ250, Yamaha YZ250 two-stroke. That's a good, you can get parts for them. There's still a lot of stuff that's really similar. Do that.
Perfect. Next one. At AR9029, 5 days ago. Glad you like doing the show. I think you guys do a good one. I'd say thank you, but I've been here. He's not talking about me as one of the guys.
I hopefully I push the thank you button on the YouTube reply comments.
Okay.
We reply to YouTube comments at least once a week, at least 20 minutes before this show.
At Cliff Bradford 4679, I thought reed valves were meant to help your engine run more gas efficient, meaning run longer because leftover fumes get recycled each combustion, so no gas gets wasted. Since when did reed valves and I'm going to read this how he put it. Since when did reed valves propose become power? Purpose, I think, is what he means.
Yeah, so they if you're talking about in four strokes. Oh, okay, so it's funny because that's on a video I made as an April Fool's joke, because everybody's pulling their reed valves out of their KTM intake systems. They're in a lot of the modern four strokes. The Austrian bikes have a reed valve in the intake track behind the throttle body. So that was 100% put in there for one reason, for sound. It was in there for sound because when the throttle body's open during a sound test, it blocks the sound waves from getting out of the airbox, which is the number one reason, one of the top 3 reasons for bikes failing sound tests. So that was the reason. But the reason it was even tried is because guys were trying it a long time ago to make more power, because essentially it was packing the intake track with a little bit more air instead of blowing it back out the opposite direction during high cam overlap moments in the
because when the motor's running at a certain point, there's a little bit of pushback through the intake valve.
Right. And so it was actually, quote, a cheap supercharger, and it did make more power. It made more torque, and it made more, it definitely helped. And the guys that knew this also, they just got put on a different task, but they said, hey, when we were doing that, it was a lot quieter. Let's try this. I want to get the guy who's kind of, there's 2 guys one that I definitely probably could get on this podcast that could come and explain this, and he's really busy working on something else. So when did it become a power thing? It's always been known as a power thing. In fact, so I'm going to run this Jeff Fredette video that I have. I ran into good buddy Jeff Fredette doing the motorcycle cannonball out in Las Vegas a couple days ago. I shot a little video, a really cool interview with Jeff, and he was doing the motorcycle cannonball, and they were riding 100-year-old motorcycles, Harley Davidsons, Indians, BMWs, mostly Harleys and Indians, bikes with 2, 3, 5 horsepower that they rode over the Rockies going across the country. The intakes on most of these bikes are suction intake valves. In other words, the valve spring is so light that just the suction of the piston going down on the long stroke sucks the air and gas fuel mixture inside of it, and then the compression closes the valve. So there was this one really old bike, and he had all this, and Jeff kind of pointed out to me, he goes, "Hey, look at that." I go, "Oh, look at that." And he had all this reflective heat tape wrapped around it and stuff like that. And I go, "Oh, is that to kind of cool down the intake track?" And he goes, "Look at the shape." I looked at it and I go, he had a reed valve in it. So he was using a reed valve to cheat the blowback from the valve. So it's nothing new. Nothing is new. And Jeff and I talk about this really a little bit in this video as well that we get to. So go ahead and take a listen to this. It's like a 20-minute long interview, and there's some really cool. If you're listening to this, if you want to see some awesome old bikes that just rode entirely across the country, and unfortunately, my good buddy Jeff made it to the last day on his 30. We talk about it in the video. Harley, he made it to the last day, and the bike gave up the ghost. It refused to start, and so.
This 20 minutes is going to play?
It's going to play for 20 minutes. You're going to take a little bit of a break.
Shut off my mic.
You can take a nap.
So I don't say something offensive.
Oh, we can talk over the top of it. And then we'll come back and get to the rest of your questions. And so here is Jeff Fredette, multi-million-time ISDE rider, a mentor to me. The guy was the king of the KDX 200. If you ever want to know about this, check out Fredette Racing Products online. And here is Jeff. I'm here with Jeff Fredette. We're at the Atomic Motors, and Jeff is competing in the motorcycle cannonball.
Yep.
He was supposed to ride a motorcycle with 3 horsepower.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and but you decided, well, your 3 horsepower motorcycle blew up.
Yeah, it seized up the rear cylinder.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Jeff has been racing motorcycles forever. I used to race with him back in the days. He has Fredette Racing Products.
Yep.
When there was a time when I was racing a KDX 200, and that was the place I turned to. I thought I knew how to make a KDX go fast, but Jeff knew how to make it. Well, not necessarily go fast. You know how to make it last.
Last, exactly. That's what we do.
And so, but I was always competing against you. I was kind of a young kid, and he was a lot more established. And he was doing what I wanted to do when I was racing. I wanted to go do the International 6-Day Enduro. Mm-hmm. You definitely had some experience doing it before, and then you continued to do it all the way till
14 was my last year. Actually, in Argentina was my first DNF at 6 days, the 34th one.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that had to be painful.
It was very painful. It was very painful, and actually, it was a day when, it was sunny desert. Like what can possibly go wrong here?
Silt.
Yeah, went right through the air filters.
We know a little bit about that.
110 bikes dropped out in one day.
Wow. Yeah, that happens. Yeah. What bike were you on that year?
The KX 450.
Okay. Yep.
KX 450, and I still got pictures of it. The air cleaner was 0.9 of a pound of dirt in it.
Yeah, it happens. It's funny that. That's just such it's so normal for us out here.
Uh-huh.
And I know in like 6 days when you're just running through special tests and stuff like that on trails, especially when you're farther back with, in the club riders and stuff, it's just a silt rut.
Right.
There's no getting out of it.
And it just went right through the air filter.
Yeah, there's oils that'll stop it, but those oils will also plug the filter. And so it's kind of it would
have been better if it plugged the filter than let it go through.
Exactly. So tell us what you're doing here.
So we'll stick on the 6 day stuff.
Okay, yeah.
So in 15, they needed somebody to organize all the pits and all that stuff and that. And I had already been working with the team loading the trailer up to that point before that, when they moved the team trailer back to Toledo, Ohio.
Right.
When the Mastons took that over. So in 15, I went over, for support, prepping the trailer, inventorying the trailer, all that kind of stuff. Then in 16, they needed another technical person to go over because Mandy wasn't going. So got my son involved, and he's been going ever since. And I mean, we really get into supporting the team. So
and this goes all the way back to what Dave Bertram is doing, the Ride to Win fund.
Yep.
And I just say my timing was pretty good with when I went to 6 days because there was some interest. The magazines got interested in it. Of course, I was doing a lot of photo modeling with magazines. When I found out it was 5 days of trail riding with the motocross race at the end, that fit what I wanted to do.
Right.
And so, but I was lucky because they started actually getting some support for the trophy team and the junior trophy team, and so it made it possible for me to go over and do it. I mean, I did what everybody does, a little bit of fundraising for, just with local clubs and things. And it was, I mean, even like today, you hear the motocross guys saying they lose money. We've always lost money going over to do it, but you just did it to go represent your country. And I still really respect what you guys are doing because now, especially for like a club rider, a regular guy, you guys make it so much easier for them to go because there is a workstation.
We've got
tools,
the containers stuffed with stuff. I mean, Paul Krause went to actually Argentina in 14, and he got there after everything was out of the container, and he's like, "Where'd all this stuff come from?" I go, "It comes out of that container." I mean, it's packed like a sardine can. I mean, it is every little nook and cranny has got something in it for the team.
Yeah, so no, that's really cool. But okay, so off of 6 days.
So now we're back onto this here.
Yeah. So what the heck are you doing?
So in 18, the Cannonball race, actually, or rally or whatever you want to call it, came through 20 minutes from my house. So we went down and looked at it, and it's like, well, this is pretty cool, man. You gotta really keep because we were there like for lunch break, and then we were there for the nighttime, and I mean it was getting dark out. I mean, there's people with lifts and their mechanics working on bikes, engines out of bikes. I mean, this happens every night at the pits. There's, wheels off, engines out. I mean, they're just completely rebuilding stuff at night so it's ready to go the next day. And I don't know, I got this warped thing in my head. It's like, well, that looks like interesting fun.
Riding
somehow.
All days, then working on motorcycles all night.
Exactly. So I ended up buying a Douglas off the Mecum auction, which actually was from my town. There was a guy who had a probably 200 bike museum in my town. It was very low key and not too many people knew about it. And he passed away, and everything went to Mecum, and they wouldn't sell me nothing here in Beecher. So I had to go all the way to Vegas.
Vegas, yeah, come out here to get a motorcycle.
Buy it, and then I had to ship it all back. So I bought that one, and it's like, I don't know, for everything I own, I always have to have two. So I bought another one in 2020. That was rough.
Yeah.
And so it's like I finally got that smuggled home.
Does this sound like something you picked up over in overseas?
Yeah, it was actually in England. So this is off the record.
Well, you put it inside of a gear bag. That's the way we used to get our bikes to 6 days, or at least the second one.
Well, this is off the record.
Yeah.
But I bought it, and one of the 6 day guys over in England, they picked it up for me, and then somehow it made it to France last year, and then it got taken apart.
Somehow, some motorcycle parts showed up.
Yeah, motorcycle parts, exactly. And it's rough, and I mean, that was the one I was going to rally at, this one here. Yeah. So I had gone through, basically in end of April, 1st of May, I just pretty much spent full time rebuilding that thing.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of time, and especially like last 2 months, it was a lot of late nights, early mornings, and to have the thing break on this Saturday before I was loading it, it's just like, ugh.
How many, like, I mean, because you guys are riding across country, so it's 3,000 miles, I guess.
3,800 miles.
3,800 miles.
This rally is,
yeah. And so how many miles had you put on it previous to that?
Since I got it done like on Thursday before we were loading up.
Oh, so you're just going to hop on a bike you just rebuilt, a bike from what year?
1927.
27, and just go 3,800 miles.
It's like one of those things where it's like that's how I've pretty much done all my bikes and stuff. You build them right, and
right.
But you're also talking more modern stuff, and And evidently, I guess it's kind of more notorious for the rear cylinder and those things to lock up because it doesn't get as much cooling and stuff.
Yep.
So I had roughly about an hour on it before I actually took it out on the road, and it seemed like it was running really good. And then all of a sudden, it just
And how
it said quit.
fast is that? You said it's not quite 3 horsepower.
Yeah, I don't know how it would have done on the hills.
It doesn't have pedals, does it?
No, it don't have
No,
pedals.
no, those pedals. It's a
They don't have
foot
pedals, and it's actually it's a pretty frail motorcycle because it's, the different countries in England they sold it by the horsepower
Yeah.
and the weight. So this motorcycle was 2 3/4 horsepower and under 200 pounds. So the tax rate on it was lower
Yeah.
than the next size bigger bike. So this whole motorcycle only weighs less than 200 pounds.
Wow.
I mean, I could physically lift the thing off the ground.
And what were you expecting the top speed to be?
Well, the other one that I had that was already kind of rebuilt, but it would have never made it anyway. I had that thing up to like 50 miles an hour on the flats.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, I mean, it's cruises. It's got a 3-speed transmission and stuff. So, and first gear was fairly low. So it's like,
It's like one of those little Kubota tractors and stuff. They do it all with gearing.
yeah, exactly.
Because we're walking around looking at some of these things. Just point out some of these bikes. Some of them have pedals. The Indians with pedals on.
Yeah.
them. There's
Yep.
things like total loss oiling systems. Intakes, valves that suck. They don't even have a
don't
actuator.
have a push rod, right?
Yeah, they suck in.
Yep.
It's just crazy. And you think anything's been done before? No, they've probably been doing it. And guys are literally still rolling in. They have till 6 o'clock
Yeah.
to get here tonight.
Yeah, it's it's 5:19 and they're still rolling in.
And how many tires are you going to be changing tonight?
I got one to do tonight for sure. Hit a pothole. It's on a trailer, I guess.
Interesting story. When I really got to know Jeff, where I really got to know and appreciate Jeff was in Germany at ISDE, because you were on the trophy team at the time, and I was probably just a club rider.
Okay.
And you stuck around when we came in, and for who knows what reason, you came over, and I was doing my first tire change. Remember the FIM tires, the original ones, the big things,
with the big beat of rubber on the outside.
yeah, and
So you
they
get
were
some spacing.
so hard to change. They were
Right.
literally hard to change. And you came over, and I, got down on my hands and knees and was doing what I normally do. And you came over and said, "Hold on, whoa!" And you literally were going to coach me through doing the tire change, and we do them exactly the opposite. Like you start or finish at the rim lock. You finish at the rim lock.
Nowadays, I just start on the tire.
Yeah, you start at the tire. So I think back then, you finished at the rim lock and I started at the rim lock.
Uh-huh.
And then my whole process and everything. And then the tube was offset 180, where they put
On
the
the other
tube in
side,
inside.
right.
This is back before Moose and all that stuff.
Right.
But it was really interesting. You came over and you really wanted to help, and you're really being super helpful
Yeah.
and stuff. But it was like I was doing it all wrong. and halfway through, I think I started to change. Like, well,
Yeah.
I said maybe I should listen to him. I mean, this guy's done it more than me, but I still really remember that vividly.
Yeah.
Remember kind of doing that, and then luckily I kind of snapped back and said, "Hey, look, go with what you've practiced. Go with what you know."
Right.
And I think you realize that too.
Yep.
And then you're like, "Okay, yeah, you're doing good. Yeah, you're good."
Yeah.
And so, but now he's changing tires on 100-year-old bikes.
They think I'm crazy because it's like at the riders meeting, it's like, because I did the chase 2 years ago, and this guy spent all night trying to find a dealership that would change his flat tire. So I told Jason, the guy, the organizer for it, it's like, "Hey, if you ever got people that need a tire change, I'll change it." He goes,
Yeah.
"What?" He goes, "Nobody wants to do tire changes, And I'm like, "Well, I love changing tires."
They're pretty easy. I mean, if you learn
If
the
you know the
technique,
basics of
yeah.
it and all that stuff, which I've actually learned. I've done 2 clincher tires already this week.
Clincher tire.
A clincher tire, which is completely different than tires. I mean, it's actually the bead on the rim, actually, like we got the
dish
and the drop center and all that stuff.
Yeah.
These things the metal just wraps over around the side, on both sides like that, and then the tube is made to fit in there.
And
it's-
the tire's on the outside almost.
no, the tire's on the inside.
Yeah.
But it's inside there, and it's got such a big lip on it that it's almost like the rim band and everything is all made into one. And there's no bead in it, there's no metal.
Oh,
So it's
pretty stretchy.
pretty floppy, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have a drop center. And then they put 50 pounds of air in it to push that tire.
Well, it sounds like a tubeless system, tube bliss, the new tech tube.
Yeah, kind of, but not really.
See,
It's-
nothing's new.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing's new.
But I guess I haven't heard of too many of them blowing off the rims. But usually, what happens is they blow off the rims because like
If
they
it
were telling
loses
me.
pressure, what's going to hold it?
Well, that too. But I guess they like when they ride them, they get up to like 70 pounds.
Oh, from the heat.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm learning on that tire technique, but yeah, so you can always learn something new.
Yeah, and so after all these years of riding, you're driven back to riding stuff that
I work on all day.
that you get to work on all day. I mean, I still miss that. I mean, now you see people that complain because like their
Yeah.
fuel pump goes out or something, and it's
Right.
like they say it's what we do at Tech Talk. We talk about motorcycle related
Yeah.
products and help people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's somebody will describe this thing, and I'm like, they describing their bikes, cutting out, missing, doing something. I'm like, what was the last thing you did to it? Oh, well, I put this on it. I go,
Yeah.
that's the problem.
That's 99%. I mean, because all I work on is KDX is just like, it's like, hey, I just rebuilt my bike and now it's doing this. I go, how did it
Power
run
valve.
before? How did it run beforehand? It ran fine. I go, okay. And they're like, well, why ain't it running? I go, you just answered it. You worked on it, And you got to be kind of polite and tell them that, if it worked fine before you worked on it, and it ain't working now, evidently it's something that you did, and I don't know what it is you did.
Yeah. Well,
You
like
know?
it's top ends. Always people top end. They go clean their power valve
Yeah.
out. And I remember the old kips there
Yeah,
that drops in
yeah,
there.
getting it in
you have to
right.
get the dots lined up.
Lined up.
And I haven't done one of those for years, but I still remember
You still
that.
remember? Yep.
I used to run those. I used to actually run those things that I think FMF was making them that would drop in that would just leave it open, the subports open on those, just so it was.
Yeah,
it was-
I don't.
Yeah.
I never.
Or maybe
knew
that
of
was
anything like
this
that.
top secret thing.
It was probably top secret. Yeah. They were good for that stuff. It's
So
I need to know.
anyways, so you have how many more days?
We got 3 more days after today.
And so you after your bike broke, you were lucky because you had another old bike.
Yeah, it's usually all of the Cannonball's been up to like 90 years old. So this year was up to 1933 was the newest bike you could have. But back in June, the entries were a little low, so they opened it up to 43s. So luckily I had a 42 Harley from doing the motorcycle chase.
Yep.
It fit into and so it's just like load a different bike, and it completely changed because I had my trailer, I was gonna have workbenches and presses and
To rebuild Douglas.
whatever was gonna be, I want to be prepared for stuff, spare metal and all kinds of stuff. So we just converted everything to just throw the Harley in the back of the pickup truck and drove it down to Virginia Beach.
Yeah. Well, cool. I appreciate your time. I mean, it's
Yeah.
awesome to see. I mean,
Yeah, you too.
we get to see.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has. And I know you don't like the desert. I'll tell you another story.
Although I raced in the desert back in the late 80s.
Well, they used to have a Desert National Enduro out here.
Yeah, that, and then they had that Best of the.
Best in Desert,
No.
the Laughlin Hair Scrambles.
Yeah, they had it was like
The Whiskey
this-
Pete's?
Yeah, I think so.
That's just you're gonna if you're going that way, you're gonna ride right by that. Now it's a hell-forsaken place out in Jean Dry Lake Bed. Those
Yeah, because
actually-
the one year we raced out of one of them casinos right on the expressway,
Mm-hmm.
and we went up into the hills over on the. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, 3 125s were in the top 3 or 5.
Yeah, because Casey's desert races, Casey
Yeah, they're
folks from
pretty-
Best in Desert used to be really, really technical. I
Yeah.
actually won the Laughlin World Championship hair scrambles on a 125.
Uh-huh.
So it's the only person ever overall a Best in Desert race on 125.
Gotcha.
But this is ancient history. I only talk about my racing on this show. But, no,
That's the only way I can be really good back
but
then.
we started talking and like I wanted to beat you on a KDX 200
Yeah.
because they switched when I started riding the qualifiers. I was on a 125 and you dropped down to a KX 125.
Okay.
But for some reason in the national enduros you were still racing a KDX 200
yeah.
because you were riding AA and I don't think the class
Right.
mattered.
Yep.
And I was a 125 guy in the desert, and I think I just moved up to 250. And Kawasaki hated me for this because in the enduros I would take my girlfriend, now wife's
Uh-huh.
KDX 200 and race it because I knew done testing. I was faster on the
Go
200
faster, right.
than I was on my KX250, and they had a checkpoints or something put on a National Hare and Hound out there, and it was Lucerne. This is my backyard and all that stuff. And I knew I'm racing the KX200, just racing the KX200. I want to beat him on his bike, and overall I did, just by a couple spots.
Gotcha.
But it was I was still riding like just A class, so I was 250A.
Right.
But anyways, that
On a
was
200.
Yeah, on a 200, and you kind of had to come and check to see if I was on a 200. But
Yep.
what a great bike. And so you're still doing Fredette Racing products?
Yeah, I mean, that's all. Well, summertime stuff is all KDX stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all KDX stuff. I got a couple, like Parts Unlimited still sells a lot of my parts that I make for all bikes.
Yep.
So they do the chain guides and the wrenches and stuff like that. And then in the winter, like
yeah, I remember the wrenches, man.
Yeah.
You were early on making those multi-tool wrench things.
Yeah. And it was one of those things where back in the day, back in the early days, I mean, we just welded shit together, and just call it a rider's wrench. And then a buddy of mine got a laser, and it's just like, whoa, I got exactly what you can make with that stuff, So started going into that, but and then like now when I get back, I'm gonna do probably about a month worth of dirt bike stuff, and then I switch over to building ice tires.
Okay. Yeah, because that's another thing you do, ice racing.
Ice racing and stuff. Yeah. So it'll be an all hands on deck, because I get home, basically I'm home for about 3.5-4 weeks, and then I go to Argentina.
Yeah.
So it's like
still in the 6th,
two more weeks of not being at the shop, and then come back and have to hammer and jammer.
And I will tell you, the last time I actually raced with you was with National Enduro. I went back there for some KTM thing. We were riding bikes, and I was probably on whatever the best KTM was at the time. And you were riding the KLX 450. It's KLR.
KLX
450. Yeah, when they built the KX.
Right.
The off-road
The off-road version. Yeah, that was like 7, 8, something like that.
Yeah, you kicked my ass. I have no idea how many minutes, how you, on that bike, on that, how many minutes.
That was an awesome motorcycle.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, it's like, I always thought it was a really good bike too. It just never kind of got where.
It never got a good rap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was kind of, they said it was heavy and stuff, but it was such a user friendly.
Yeah.
I know, buddy.
Easy, smooth ride power.
Yeah.
There's a lot to this.
That year when they came out with that, my buddy's like, the guy I raced at home all against, he's always trying to beat me. He goes, haha, you got to ride that this year. Well, that year I rode the 450, I rode the 200, and then I think I had a KX 250. I rode, the 4-stroker.
Yep.
I rode all 3 bikes, and I still won the district riding 3 different kinds of bikes. But he thought for sure, oh, you got to ride that 450. I'm going to kick your butt, Nope, it didn't happen.
Well, right on, Jeff. Have a fun last couple days on the road, and
it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, good to see you.
Catching up with
Thanks.
you. Yeah.
Bye.
The defending champion, the all-new Yamaha YZ450F.
What's up, Moto Buddies? Mike here from Taco Moto Co. What is the Taco Touch? It's the best service in the industry. Virtually 24/7 tech support via email or text, and it's like having a dirt bike doctor on call every day of the year, helping you fix your bike or recommend parts or setups for you. If you've ever received an order from us, you'll know that the Taco Touch extends to our fulfillment, and our orders come with the coolest stickers that you've ever had, buying parts from anybody before, and a handful of root beer barrel candies. All of our Taco Moto Co. branded components come with a no questions asked lifetime warranty, and we'll even extend out the warranty of other manufacturers, OEM, and aftermarket parts where we can, sometimes for life. We test and tune endlessly and exhaustively and obsessively. We're trying to destroy everything that we can before you get your hands on it to look for weaknesses and to improve it, or to make recommendations to the manufacturer. And if it's something that doesn't meet grade, then we don't offer it on the store. Everything that we carry is something that we have personally used, tested, and ridden, and raced, and knows meets the high Taco Touch demanding standard. Go out and get some adventure.
Welcome back to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. I'm here with George. George is on the George mic.
Yep.
If George were smart, he would actually, position his mic to show his sticker.
What sticker?
Your sticker. They're everywhere.
It's on the side, yeah.
Yeah,
I got one here.
Yeah.
Maybe we should auction this off live.
You think somebody gave me $4.99 on the they did a YouTube donation thing.
For a sticker?
No, just because I gave I don't know, because they like the show.
I auctioned that sticker off for $1,000. It went for $1,000 at a fundraiser in a frame.
Oh, that was you framed somebody. Is what you did.
I framed one, but yeah,
you framed.
Oh, it was a setup, but we got him.
You framed somebody. So Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. That was an awesome interview with Jeff Fredette. If you are just tuning in, Jeff Fredette is the world famous KDX 200 guy. Has been to a million ISDs. Lots of history there, and was doing the motorcycle cannonball. I ran into him in Las Vegas when they were coming through, and that was our little interview.
Did we lose everybody? Are we still alive?
There's no
Victor's
people.
got to be out there. He's just drinking or something.
Why would
this
you do
time of
that?
night.
Yeah. So we're gonna have Trevor come on a little bit, but George, we're gonna go right back to the questions from the YouTubes, the internets, the wherever they come from. People leave us comments if you like it. Push the like button or whatever you're supposed to do to make us more internet famous. I'd like to see us get to 20,000 on the YouTube. So subscribing.
And don't forget to click through dirtbiketest.com and click on the Rocky Mountain links and all those Amazon links and do that.
I know, because everybody's bikes last forever, and I don't sell a lot of parts.
Sometimes I forget, but then I always try and go back and order my stuff through that. So
yeah, cool.
It doesn't cost me anymore.
Nope.
Okay, Steve Smith, 756. 2 days ago, lots of my buddies like the 22 more than the 23. Just ask Dylan Ferrandis.
So he's talking about the YZ450. I don't know which comment video. So I hopped on the 23, and I instantly liked it a lot more, but I didn't have a chance to play around with maps. And I know if I could play with maps, I would like it even more. And the racers are all head cases, and they're all particular, and their bikes are not even close to stock. I mean, they might start out stock or close to there, and then they go off in these directions. But if you just look at the Honda Sierra 450X, for instance, it was all those years, it was that carbureted, bike, and then they went to the new one, and a lot of the high profile guys did not like the new bike. And so there was a big, it was kind of, it's just what you're used to and what's comfortable. And trust me, you regular person, this is coming from a high level racer, somebody told me that I should talk more about my racing accolades here, so that people.
That's what you ought to do. Watch
Really?
the numbers drop off there. They already dropped off because you said that.
Anyway, they dropped off because I said that.
Need
really?
to ring the bell.
Well, it's what's
every
it that-
time you say "I used to," we ought to ring the bell
yeah, like
or
the
something. Or
Husaberg,
count
yeah.
it. The meter.
Yeah, so, hey, you don't want what those guys are racing. You really, really, really don't want what those guys are racing. It's not for you. Don't believe it. It's, some things maybe you think better, but trust me, we just did a test on a Yamaha TTR 230 play bike, family bike, fun bike, full play bike, air cooled, 4-stroke, carbureted, all this stuff. It is heavy. You want to know all the beginner rider said?
Felt stable.
It's stable, and it felt light, and they could turn it. where the bike that they were also on, a TTR 125, didn't turn as good and wasn't as stable, and it's way lighter. So when we're splitting hairs at this level. So yeah, go ahead.
Hey, I'm going to plow through a bunch of these.
You and Dylan Ferrandis, go ahead and ride the old bike. Actually, Dylan doesn't have a ride right now that we know of.
At Paul Coverdale, 8312, must be talking about the Cove or Cove.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Chinese Dakar bike that done so well. They decided to put it out on the open market. Here in the UK, they are gaining a real following. 1, they are good. 2, the fuel. It's 8 gallons for you guys in the States and 31 liters for us in the UK. Looks like it's going to be a giant killer from the reviews before 2024 shows here in UK and Europe. Enjoy, guys. All right, David Walker, 5795, 19 hours ago from when this was printed, I guess. Can you compare the vibrations of the Cove versus the T7 at highway speeds? Old guys here sensitive to the buzzies. Let me say, I'm going to guess you're talking 2-cylinder, 1-cylinder, right? The 2-cylinder is going to be smoother.
In all honesty, I didn't ride the Cove a ton on the highway, but when I did, it was not noticeable between the two bikes. You're feeling more vibration from the tires being out around, the knobby type tires, things like this, than you are from like buzz or vibration. That Cove was actually pretty damn good on the road. I mean, surprisingly, and it didn't seem like it vibrated. There wasn't like the buzz or engine vibration you would kind of expect at normal speeds. If you started running it up into the 75, 80 mile an hour range, yeah, I think there was a little bit of vibration, but that's not where you should be riding that bike. I mean, if you want to go that fast, when you start going 75 and 80, you're looking at an extra cylinder, you're looking at some bigger displacement.
Now my 640, I think, buzzes and vibrates pretty good.
It starts from the minute
When
you
it's
start
running.
it up.
Yeah.
It's funny. You can put it on the
and it
side
just gets
stand
worse.
and it'll actually walk away.
Yeah.
Bikes today are not even close to that. Not in that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Good.
Okay. 2 UZFE 4x43 publicly subscribed 7 months ago. 7 hours ago. Would you take this over the Cove for a one size fits most? Everything from commuting to desert to longer adventure rides, dirt and single track, even night desert race maybe. What's he referring to? Would you take this over the Cove?
He's talking about a Yamaha WR450. I'm pretty sure we may have answered this one before, but the minute you say race, just take the Cove out of the equation. Unless you're going to do rally racing, unless you want to spend a little bit extra money on setting it up. Cove is a adventure / dual sport bike. Light adventure, light dual sport, we'll call it. It's a great bike, not a race bike. I rode it like a race bike, and it bottomed out, and it was like it's heavy, and all the stuff comes to the front. Don't do that. They sell a race one. I don't know how much different it is because I haven't ridden it. But, yeah, once you start getting more competition, yeah, go with a bike that's set up for it, especially the Yamaha WR450 that I have, and I'm working on a thing.
Okay, at SLFYSH, Slayfish or something. Slayfish, I don't know.
Slayfish.
Publicly subscribed a day ago. Wow. Been a long time follower.
It's crazy that you publicly subscribe because everybody else
why does it
subscribes
say
in the
that?
closet. Because they subscribe in the closet.
6 hours ago. Oh, you edited 6 hours ago. Fair to judge after riding it, but the description of a perception of being junk is not an unfair bias, but based on experience, ! All Chinese bikes, caps, have been comparative junk. Chinese making better bikes helps us all, forcing competition to up their game. Just
Correct.
a comment. We don't even need to comment on it. Nope. Snooper Motor 723 4 hours ago.
Hey,
Tyler,
wait a minute. Hold on. Carrie says it's $2 for the sticker.
$2?
Yeah.
She's going to bid $2?
No, I mean she's selling them for $2.
Oh, okay.
Does she have a stack or something like that?
Oh, they're all over the place. Yeah, I ordered like 500 more, and then I found 200 or something.
Okay, so hit up Carrie on Facebook, and she will take care of your needs. Actually, speaking of that, these T-shirts, I'm 2 days away from having my form done, and Mark Daniels can attest that it will take some time, but I will get you these shirts because this podcast it's on life support. It's barely working. I don't even know how much ad dollars we have coming in. I barely get out of bed in the morning to do this, but I'm going to become a T-shirt company, and I'm going to sell this T-shirt to make my first, 120 grand. I think because, that's the thing is like, it's all about the merch. I've checked with the Instagram. I go on the I go on the you influencers forum, and they say you got to have merch. So my merch store is coming. Check it out.
Yeah, like the stuff Ricky ordered. It was all Ricky Barback or
Ricky
something.
Barback, yeah.
They got the R and the A mixed
Those
up.
are
Anyway,
those for sale? They're
I have
additionals?
one.
Oh, you have a-
They
you have a
might be
Barback?
limited edition.
Limited
the
edition
Barbacks.
Barback shirts.
Yeah, I'll auction that off too.
Okay, good.
Hey,
Yeah.
at Snooper Moto 723.
That guy ruined my life because
Snooper Motor or Barback?
Ricky, no, Barback did, because I used to be like the highest placing American at Dakar Rally. You know, that's a big rally race that I did. I was kind of, I mean, people sometimes, like the old guys that remember this, but like he did better than me, and then I'm like nothing.
Yeah, but you're the guy that
So
helped him there.
I don't like to talk about
You
it.
know, as you age, I mean, I can say this from experience, you just got to let the kids take it over. They're better, they're faster, they're stronger. You know, they won't believe what
Hey, if they put any real navigation,
old guys did.
If they put any real navigation in those rallies, like back in my day, you know, back when you used to use the compass and the TikTok clock.
And it wasn't just a glamping get together.
Yeah, where they all ride around in motorhomes and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I could kick their ass.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Living in the dirt. At Snooper Motor 723, Tyler /Everride sent me. Great review. Subbed.
So Everride reposted his co-review last night and gave so much praise to Jimmy and Matt. That's what Mark's telling me.
Oh, cool.
I like I said, if I could keep up, send me a direct link to this, like at the time frame or something, so I can watch it and just send me that, and then send me the ones that are telling me that I'm full of shit, because those are the ones because like, you know,
Yeah, you'll read all that.
We're humans. I'll just go straight to the stuff where they talk bad about me, and then I'll stew on it, and then I'll come back like a Tacosaurus Rex. I'll just attack them. Hold on. Yeah, come after me, because I'm a motorcycle YouTube influencer.
Okay, Thomas Caldwell, 184, 4 hours ago. Damn, it's like sitting down and having a chat with a legend. Thanks, guys. I'll take credit for that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I like to bring legends on my show. That's why George is here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could tell you some things I'm legendary for.
You
Simon.
have a gold medal.
Yes, I do. Simon Lemaire, 392, 4 hours ago. Any idea how it would compare to the AJP PR7? So are you familiar with that at all? I just Googled it. It's a knockoff bike or something.
So it's a Portuguese built. It's not a knockoff. It's actually AJP kind of makes their own things. They use some existing parts, and they piece it together into something. AJP kind of had what would have been a Cove. 5 or 7 years ago, they built this thing. Maybe not as much fuel tank capacity, but it sort of has the rally style. I've ridden one around very briefly. It was Lyndon from Seat Concepts. It was one of his bikes. It's extremely heavy, very torquey. I wouldn't say it's super performance oriented. The weight was very, very noticeable to me. Maybe more so than just making the bike stable. So I don't have enough time on it to compare it, but I think they're definitely different bikes. AJP has reached out to us lately and said, hey, would you like to come and test and ride our bikes? And we are interested, because they do have some interesting offerings in their line, especially they have some, we'll call them air-cooled bikes that have decent suspension. So it's kind of a higher performance play bike that I think there's a big need for now, because a lot of people got into this motorcycle thing during COVID, and they didn't know what they were getting into, and they bought the wrong thing. Let it too much or too little. And some of these bikes out there might be the right thing, but again, all you get is you have to give one to an Instafluencer guy, and then he just says it's great and shoots some hot photos, and he says, yeah. And if they put their girlfriend on them that has some hey, Trevor, welcome to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. Hold on. Why aren't you coming? I got you plugged in here. Why aren't you coming through the phones?
Volume down or something?
I can hear you here, but why can't I hear you?
Just hold them up to the microphone.
I could do that, but that's like a janky way to do it, and then he can't hear the
What's
show.
not janky about this?
This is a professional pod show. Let's see here. You there, Trevor? Hello?
I'm here.
Good. I was just about ready to
you
start
got
talking
him.
about how if you put boobs on your internet channels, you get more views.
That could be a possibility.
Right. Okay. So can you be the guy in charge of the boobs on the Dirt Bike Test channel? Because I'd feel much better if it wasn't me doing it. I don't.
He's just on the phone. We don't have video of him.
No, he's
Because I kind of like it when he's in his bedroom and his mom's yelling at him to get out there or something, or get off the phone. It's getting late or
It's usually
something.
his little brother yelling at the video game, and then his sister trying to club him over the head
Yeah.
with a baseball bat.
See, I heard something there.
Yeah.
Somebody's yelling at him.
Okay, so did I answer that question? Yes? No? George? Hello?
You took the phone away to yell back at somebody.
Somebody's yelling at your phone, or are you going to go outside?
Are you safe, Trevor?
Yeah,
tap twice
Can you hear
on
me?
the tap twice on the phone if
you
you're
can
safe.
hear us?
If you're being
I can hear.
attacked, tap once.
Yeah, okay. Good. If you can hear us, then we're okay.
Okay.
Good. You just hold on for a second. Tell your family to shut the hell up and respect your current job description of being a guest on a very famous motorcycle podcast.
Yeah, that's what it is.
When are you moving out? You know what? I'll rent you a place out here real cheap, and you don't have to deal with all that home shit.
Yeah, he'll give you a place to stay, and then you'll get paid even less. You think that's going to work out?
Yeah, you can fix dents out here. It's a lot closer to hail damage, and he's got a truck he can practice on. So okay, let's get back to the show. Trevor Hunter, I'm going to put up a picture of a Yamaha YZ250 in action on the thing. How can you talk about the bike? Or are we under embargo?
Embargo lifted at 4:00 this afternoon.
Oh,
so we're free.
So Don Maeda already has the full test as if he's ridden it for many years up on he's trans moto gender cross thing.
Something like that.
Okay. That's because it's popular now. It's popular. Yeah, you go all ways from motocross to enduro. It's like
Rattle off what's on this embargo that got out of it. What's out?
There, no, it's
what do you know about
it's
it?
over.
Well, yeah, tell us about it.
Let's see. Yamaha, just start out straight up, Trevor. You used to be a shill for Yamaha. Now you ride everything but Yamahas.
I'm trying to expand my horizons, but every time I jump on a Yamaha, I just keep coming back.
So the bike's good.
Yes and no.
Okay, here we go. Is it as good? Could you get it whipped like me? That's a picture.
I could.
That's a picture of me whipping a YZ250. Of course, it has 2 less strokes than that one. Probably weighs more, but I was a little bit near your age at that time.
Amazing what tipping the camera to the side will do for a photo.
Oh, Chris Holtner never tilted the camera. Look at the. Oh, give me. Hold on a second here.
Look at the trees. Look at
the trees.
Look at that.
Look at the trees. We didn't spend.
That's Photoshop for when you had to cut all the way around that image on the motorcycle.
We didn't spend 4 hours digging that tree out of the ground and then orientating it back to the horizon to make it look more radical. Okay, just don't give me a. Trevor, did you see what I just held up to the camera?
I'm not watching right now.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
I don't know why anybody
it's a
would.
Jimmy shot.
Okay, so
I'd watch for George.
Okay, so the bike is good. Okay, tell us the 3 best things about the new YZ250F. Start with the motor because that's always the number one.
Well, that's kind of where it's different.
Oh, things went sideways.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
We can hear you.
Yep.
Yeah, so like when the first bikes hit the track and everyone was bogging and the bike was falling on its face and this and that, I thought, oh my gosh, they just ruined this motor. They just ruined the best 250F motor, in my opinion. But once everyone kind of started riding it more aggressive, it came around. And then as soon as they started changing mapping was the biggest thing that helped that bike.
Wait a minute. So when everybody took off out on the track, you're saying everybody's bogging?
Yep.
Okay. Now this is strange because I'm going to tell you straight up that the manufacturers do not. They were out there last week with a bike or two, riding them around, making sure that everything worked good. And if the bike is bogging, did they get a bad load of gas?
You said they changed the tuning, didn't they?
So I guess Paris thought it was a 450 intro, not a 250 intro.
And
so
they
ripped it like super, super deep and like way. I think that's part of the reason. But just with the new, actually they didn't change really anything in the motor, just like the camming. the timing chain for durability reasons, but
Right,
other than
this is-
that,
this
the
is-
only difference.
hey, Yamaha is a sponsor of this show, so there was no way I would ever even stage this segment to have them bog like you're saying the bikes bog. But okay, here's the quality. Okay, here's the quality of test riders that are out there, and you're included in this, by the way. It's like you should have said. You shouldn't have never said that the bike bogged. You said in the beginning the track was ripped really deep, which made a lot of the lesser test riders think that the bike was boggy because those pussies never ride 250Fs and they don't know how to turn the throttle farther. But us at dirt bike tests, we turn the throttle like it's supposed to, and the Yamaha with class-leading torque and power delivery was able to pull right through it while the other guys were like not knowing what was going on.
That's your shill. That's your
Tyler
shill
Belknap-
spill.
Tyler Belknap was one of the problems. That's the issue.
Tyler, does he know that I actually qualified for a motocross national before?
He wouldn't believe that. Needs
Well-
video proof.
Video proof.
There we go, Jimmy talking about his racing again. Tell us more about the bike.
Okay, so the engine sucks. Now let's get on to the chassis. It's a new chassis. It's basically
No.
they took the YZ450 chassis and dropped the 250 motor into it. And of course, since you're putting a 250 motor in a 450 chassis, which nobody's ever done before, that's not a thing that they've ever done. But okay, so Yamaha did this because the 450 chassis is so good. And now since it's a big, heavy 450 chassis, it makes the motor suck. How does the chassis work? Because we all know that slow bikes usually handle really good. George overserved me tonight.
Motor definitely doesn't suck, but chassis felt really good today. It corners really well. Feels a lot lighter, more nimble, which on a 250F I think is I value that more than like on a 450. On a 450 I probably would prefer a little more stable of a bike, but a 250F it's nice to be able to throw it around a little bit more.
Yep.
And so I we both really like the chassis today, especially out at Paris. There's a lot of tight corners and stuff. It's not super fast. So the chassis was definitely the highlight today. But going back to the motor, it didn't suck. It just
I know.
with
I'm just
the stock mapping. Yeah. With the stock mapping, you couldn't like on the old bike, you could roll corners in third gear
Mhm.
and not really have much of an issue. Whereas with the new, all they did is intake and some different ECU mapping with the new bike, and it's pretty crazy how different it felt. Like you had to be in second gear and through the corners and stuff, and like if you tried to do third, you'd have to clutch it a lot and this and that.
You remember how I used to work at a magazine and I used to have to work with all these test riders at different times and things? So I'm going to ask you, and the reason I do this publicly and stuff is because this is what really goes on. So if I were the guy in charge and you're test rider and stuff, and most of the guys that are in charge don't even know enough to do this, I would ask the question, Trevor, when was the last time you rode a 250F?
Tyler Belknap raced one 48 hours ago.
Okay, no. When was the last time you rode a Tyler, I haven't talked to Tyler. I'm not talking. When was the last time you raced a 250F? Rode a 250F? Because all of Tyler's opinions are coming through you right now.
Let me tell you what I'm hearing. Are you trying to? Let me say what I'm hearing.
Since I've ridden one.
So
It's been a while.
So I'll tell you what I'm hearing. You can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Sounds like the power band is a little narrower and it's higher in the revs. Is that what you're kind of saying?
With the stock mapping, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But also Trevor has been spending a lot of times on 450s.
Right.
And I remember when we first started doing 450s, Trevor didn't like 450s because they were too much power and you couldn't control them. And he wanted to rev his 450, and it's hard to do because they become a little bit uncontrollable. Now Trevor likes to go around the turns in third gear, like he just said,
right,
at a lower RPM, like you're supposed to on a 450.
Well, he's evolving.
I'm getting lazy.
Getting older.
And so that technique on a 250 gives you exactly what he just said. Bogging by comparison. That bike's not bogging. The bike is it's taking the load, but it's not responding at that RPM at a thing.
Yes.
So what you usually do at that point, Trevor, as a highly experienced motorcycle tester and racer, you turn the throttle a little bit farther before you start, letting the clutch out.
And he did that
eventually.
Yeah, it took a few more laps.
But he's like everybody else. He wanted somebody to hand him a map that made the bike better. It's like, give me the pill.
Yeah, that's what we live in. We live in the day. You get a pill, something hurts, you get a pill. Something doesn't work right, you get it remapped, you change it.
But the suspension, Trevor, the suspension has to be perfect.
It was pretty good. I made a couple quicker changes to the fork, but other than that, it felt pretty good.
Right.
No air forks, no nothing. Just good old KYB spring forks and spring shock.
So if Dylan Ferrandis were to have to ride this bike, would he complain? Because we just had a question about this.
I don't know. He likes to complain about a lot, it seems like, but
the only reason I didn't show up at that intro today is because Damon Bradshaw was not out there. I wanted to come out and hang out with the beast.
Who was out there? Ryan Villapoto was out there.
Did you smoke him
a wheel? I did pass him. I'm pretty sure we got on video.
Oh, good.
He might have been laid out in a rut, but I still passed him.
That's awesome. So when do you have the riding impression done yet?
No, because I went mountain bike riding instead.
Don Maeda probably went mountain bike riding too. He probably had that thing done before he left the track, which he probably left at 1:00.
Yeah, I think so. Well, he just told his slaves to get on it, and he'll see it when it's on the website.
Yeah,
making him money.
But he's probably really nice to his slaves in person. Like, unlike me, who brings I like to call you an indentured servant, and I like to bring you up on the show, like for a public lynching. But so tomorrow morning when I wake up, I can wake up to this awesome impression up on video on Dirt Bike Test.
Possibly.
What's Tyler doing?
Possibly. Probably talking to his girlfriend or something.
Yeah. Tell him
important stuff.
Yeah, he's gonna be going to AJP and gas intros if he doesn't kind of click it up. Those Top Flight Yamaha intros are no longer on the table.
No.
He
went to a Suzuki intro yesterday.
Well, I know that's putting in the work, I guess. So do we have content on that on Dirt Bike Test, or do you have to write it all? Or his dad's writing it for him?
I think Dad's handling that one.
So, did they ride Ken Roxon's bike?
They were not allowed to ride Ken Roxon's bike.
But Motocross Action got to?
Everyone except for us, I think, got to ride Ken Roxon's bike. I was a little disappointed in that.
Wow.
Even though I think we're probably the only media outlet that really does anything with Suzuki's these days, but
that's okay.
Didn't get the chance.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have stood for that back in my day, but you guys run it how you see fit.
I wasn't there. I would have stuck on it.
And Bill O'Neill thinks that the only way we can do any better is to put more boobs on our site right now.
I mean, it might work.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, thanks for that awesome ride report. Basically, you're saying that the bike is just so I saw guys riding YZ125s and YZ250s at the Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do that?
I missed that invite as well.
Did our pit reporter get that invite?
Logan?
Yeah, whoever was there.
No one showed up for us, so maybe that's why
What did he got mugged on the way there?
He had school. He said he had school.
Oh,
even though I think.
Well, tell him
journalism.
Tell him he can drop out of school, move out to Pahrump, live here for pretty cheap, and I can give him a schooling on how to be a journalist.
Okay.
Yeah, just let him know. It's
cheap. How to be a journalist.
Yeah. Super Monkey did this back in the day. He did it down in Mexico though, so I'm pretty close. I'm in Pahrump.
You're in Pahrump.
Yeah.
Anything else to add about that bike?
No. Once I retrained my brain to ride a 250F and we played with the mapping a little bit, it got a lot better for me. It's funny because we put in a map and then the motor felt almost identical to last year's motor, with just a mapping change. So it's kind of crazy how, I mean, it's something we already kind of knew, but it seems like a lot of people don't know is just how effective that GYTR app really is, and it's free. So you can make your motor run at the rev limiter and make all the power there, or you can make it almost like a 350 and make a lot of torque and bottom end power.
So when people kind of quote started complaining, was Yamaha kind of ready with these maps? They had maps that were they knew.
They had a Stevie map, which was already pre-programmed into all the bikes, and then they had another responsive map, which helped make it feel like last year's bike, already ready to go.
Can you make sure? Can you make sure you take pictures of those maps and put those in the test?
Yeah,
so that people can kind of see what the changes are, because a lot of people, they just, I just want this map, but they don't even know what the changes are, and it's interesting to see what the changes are. Like one of the things I do on like the WRs, for instance, because you have a standard map and then you have a mellow map. And one of the things I do spend time doing is I try to make the mellow map the same as the standard map. And you can't do it exactly because there's underlying things in there, but you can change some stuff to get them similar, and then you sort of know the differences between the two, and it's like, oh, that's what it takes to make this one mellow. And then you can take that and sort of add those numbers on top of the standard map, and then you can, quote, make it in some way, shapes, aggressive. And on the YZs, there's a standard map, and then you light the button up, and then you get an aggressive map. So the underlying base maps are actually a little bit different.
Yeah.
And
on the motocross bikes, they're both the same, right?
No. I believe that the underlying map on the light on mode, which is it's an aggressive map. So it has I don't know. I would have to check. You'd have to ask this, because there was a time when you pushed the button and it was the underlying map was always different. They weren't exactly the same, but they may have changed this. I would prefer that they didn't. Yeah, I would prefer that if they were exactly the same, and then that way you could actually put two maps that are different in there, and you could feel the difference without some underlying stuff going on.
I'll ask Stevie and see if maybe he would probably know.
Yeah, that'd be good information. And if I'm wrong, please let me know and correct me so I can get that out there, because they have changed over the years. It's been different. But on my WRs, because WRs and FXs, they tend to have a standard and a less aggressive map, or they call it a traction map, sort of built in. And if the maps are all based in zeros now, then you don't have to do this anymore. But on the WR, for sure, with just the base maps, they're different. If they're all zeros, they're different.
Yep.
So, well, awesome. So it was just you and Tyler out there today?
Just us two.
Yep. So
some call it the A team.
The A team.
The A team. Not
Right.
sure what that means, but
I'm sure Tyler calls it that. How's his race results been lately? He's been killing it.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I know a guy that knows how to train people when they don't know how to ride very well, even though they think they do.
Probably need some George stickers.
He may need some
George
Jimmy
stickers.
Lewis training.
Some George stickers.
I'll have him riding around that circle till he pukes.
I haven't seen my stickers in your socials, so
Yeah.
George, I need some new stickers.
Well, I tried to get some to you here not a while ago. Did you ever get them?
Was I supposed to?
I
give
did
him
not.
Well, I'll leave some here somewhere. You can get
Yeah,
'em.
he never shows up here. He actually, the only reason he comes here is when his mooses and tires fail, and he shows
Send
up
me
at
your
my house.
address and I'll throw some on me.
Hey, I
envelope.
know. I don't like to talk about other people's racing, but didn't you do pretty well in the Silver State this weekend?
Yeah, we took the win.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what happened to all the guys that were beating you?
They didn't show up.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Sounds like my gold medal story.
Right. Well, you get them how you take them.
That's right.
I mean, a win's a win, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I used to like to put myself in the arena where I was competing against the best riders in the world, Trevor. That's why I was the second and third place guy, and I'll accept that.
Well, I'll say we made some progress on the 450X Honda, so that was nice to see, even though there was no one to race against. But.
Did you take the swing arm pivot bolt out? Because that's what most people would think you should do.
I mean, we didn't try that one yet.
Or
but
did you just
maybe.
start racing a Yamaha YZ450FX?
That would be a dream.
Oh, good. Yeah, because everybody's asking, how come Trevor's not racing Yamahas anymore?
We're saving it to be nice and fresh for the 24-hour and try and go win that.
The last year's YZ450FX or the new one?
No, the last one.
Last one.
But
And
I know someone who may or may not have ridden the new one.
oh yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
the questions. There's some questions about the ignition that we had earlier in the show. Is the stator the same and the flywheel is different between WR, or they're both different?
They're both different.
Then you evidently have the wrong part number on a box that you took a picture of in a test, according to one of our more astute viewers.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So it was on the YouTube comments. You might want to go in there and I don't know, someplace they were asking questions about this.
Okay, I'll go and check it out.
Yeah. Do the homework. But anyways, anything else you'd like to report on this very famous, well-reviewed podcast? Quite possibly the best podcast about motorcycle and motorcycle parts that's on the air right now, being broadcast
for
from
sure.
Perot.
It's the best one right now.
Right
From
now?
this location?
From this location.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd guarantee that.
yeah. Anything else you'd like to pump out there? You want to list off your sponsors or anything, Trevor?
We concluded the part 2 of our 450 shootout, and we have a winner.
Dude, okay, so you sent me, listen to this. So Trevor sent me like this kind of janky spreadsheet that he put together with like some numbers on it. It looked like a giant tie. Well, and it's the one of them said KTM. We had a KTM.
We had a KTM.
Who did,
not from KTM.
yeah, who do we borrow this from? Because KTM won't give us test bikes anymore because they don't like Trevor.
No, we used Todd Davis's personal bike.
So we had a KTM in there, which is like it's like a gas or the white ones, whatever those are called.
Yeah.
And okay, so what won?
The Yamaha. No surprise.
It was. I'm not surprised. But it was basically super close.
It was like literally if one person would have flipped their scores,
It would have
all
switched
the
to
bikes
something else.
It was
So just for anybody that's listening, what Trevor did was took all the 450 off-road bikes, the FX, like the YZ450 FX, the Honda Sierra 450 RX, the KTM, whatever they call that thing, and the Kawasaki KXX. He took all those bikes and did kind of modifications based on what in our standard bike testing everybody complained about, and even in the standard testing it was pretty even when you collaborated all the scores, but the riders were very polar on what they liked stock. But now it seemed like everybody was closer. It was like it brought everything more to the center.
Yes.
You fixed all of the shortcomings of these motorcycles.
Yes and no. Some still had some issues that I never saw or I didn't feel, but other riders felt just because there were different
Size, shapes,
shapes and
preferences.
sizes and ages. But then there was some stuff that I didn't like on other bikes that those same riders really like. So it's just kind of two different.
Like I said, this is why you're able to modify bikes. This is what you should. When a bike you feel has a shortcoming, this is how you modify it. And then for the same thing is like if one person modifies it a certain direction, it might get better for them, but also worse for others. And that's what it makes it so difficult. But if you go to www.dirtbiketest.com, Trevor has put up it's up there now, right? Videos?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, that you're working on that right after you get done with the YZ intro.
Yes.
So by the time Jimmy gets this posted back on the internets, it'll probably be up there. Right?
Yeah, by the time you're listening to this, you can go to www.dirtbiketest.com and you can read all about it, like they used to say.
So the 4 people watching now, don't go right to dirtbiketest.com.
Well, 2 people already fell asleep.
I was falling asleep a minute ago.
Oh,
we got to keep it moving, Jimmy. You're
okay. Well, it's only
acting like you're
only
overserved
8:50.
or something.
Not even close. I'm nearly
Got a lot of
professional.
information to get through here.
Oh, a lot of questions.
Trevor,
Hey.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You probably got my number, don't you?
That's a hit.
I'll look. I'll text you and get your address and I'll mail you
Okay.
something in an envelope or something.
Hey, Trevor, can you stick around for some quick question roulette?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna burn through these
Okay,
questions
at
here.
just some dude 445 3 hours ago, he says, had to flip a page. It's not the China-made lack of quality perception holding me back from buying this bike. He's talking about the Cove, Trevor. It's the straight up sending my money to China to buy one part. That's the only thing holding me back. The spec sheet reads like a longtime dual sporter's wildest dream. Well, you're dealing with an importer somewhere here in the United
Correct.
States. I'm sure when you buy the thing, you're not just clicking on something and transferring money to Hong Kong, are you?
Well, it's all going to. It's technically they think it's all going to China, which,
Yeah.
you know what? If it was so easy, we'd be building dirt bikes here in the U.S. ATK tried it. Avenger tried it. Cannondale tried it. There's been a few, So that's just the way it is. I mean, whether your money's going to China or Japan or Portugal or Austria or it's going someplace.
Okay, at DZNNF7, 2 hours ago, groundbreaking content here. Taco Mike and Jay have some competition. Who's Jay?
Dirt bike test. Dirt bike channel. Jay.
Okay,
Has
great.
competition. We're competition. Trevor, so your tech tip on how to keep your white grips clean is killing it compared to all that shit that Dirt Bike Channel puts out.
Cool. MX Wizard, at MX Wizard,
Hey,
publicly
I'm going to challenge you, Trevor, right now. Tomorrow, I will do a tech video. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm going to do it. And it's just going to be a quick little hit like that. I'll put it in the places or something. Mine will get twice as many views as whatever you do. I'll guarantee you that, and then I'll pay you double of what I pay you if it is not true.
Just put a George sticker in
But
yours,
if-
Trevor, and you'll beat him.
2 times 0 is still 0.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't do math.
Okay, MX Wizard publicly subscribed you a day ago, 1 hour ago. He says, how does the power compare to the Honda CRF 450 RL?
He's asking about the Cove. Actually, pretty similar. Maybe the Honda has 10% more.
Okay, there you go. At Thomas
Hashtag.
Quay 9119, 1 hour ago. Some of this is probably just AI, huh?
No.
Responding. Do you think this bike would be too much for a rider who is new to off-road riding but has street experience, ? Or should I look at something more like a 300 dual sport?
No,
Is the Cove pretty high? Is it built like a rally bike?
it's not that high, but yeah, it's a tall seat height motorcycle. And here's the thing with people that ride street bikes is they're so used to putting both feet on the ground because they're riding in this. They're trying to get your body in this this compact little zone. They want you packed into the center so that the bike handles better. Well, on a dirt bike, you don't even want to be touching the motorcycle when you ride it. You want to be hovering over it, floating over it. You want to be extended from the motorcycle. So that's why the seat heights can be high. And people go, well, I can't touch the ground. And I'm like, how much are you riding with your feet on the ground? That shouldn't really be a consideration. So, but if you know how to operate a motorcycle, you know how to work the throttle, work the clutch, you can operate brakes, you understand motorcycle controls, it doesn't matter what you're on. They're all going to kind of work the same. If the seat height is your problem, then it's a balance issue. You're tipping over all the time. You need to figure out how to work this. And if you're short, you're like your inseam, you need to learn how to get your butt off the seat. Like my wife is.
But you might want to. You're talking to the
my wife's 5'7",
king of the
at most,
insane.
maybe 5'6", and she rides bikes with 40-inch seat heights, adventure bikes with tall seats on it all day long. These are 500-pound motorcycles. She's not that strong. She's got bad knees, and she rides them just fine because she understands how to work it. So don't let the seat height scare you into something that you shouldn't be riding. You might have a ton of fun on a little tiny small bike. it might be okay, but don't be afraid of a bike because of the seat height.
But with that said, for your question, I would say if you're just starting to get into off-road, go to jimmylewisoffroad.com, come get trained. But you might be more comfortable starting at a more traditional dirt bike than stepping into a heavier.
I dare you to take my beginner riding online course. You take this, send me a couple videos of you doing the drills, and if those drills don't work, I'll give you your money back, all $49 of it. Period.
Okay. You got anything on that, Trevor? Trevor's never taken the class, has he?
He needs to come out and try it. He chickens out.
I know.
He thinks he's above it.
I know. I need to take that beginner class.
You need to just come out and take the regular class. You'd blow. It wouldn't do anything for like 3 or 4 months, and then you'll be riding and it'll go, oh my God, that works. Oh, holy crap. I've been doing that wrong all along. This is what happens, because this is what I do to myself.
Wait till he looks over at Jim, and Jim's just standing there on his pegs where he stopped 10 minutes ago, and Jimmy's doing lecture, and Jim's just standing there,
track standing the motorcycle
on his bike without moving the handlebars at all. He's not doing the trials thing. Anyway, that'll go, oh, maybe there's something to this. Okay, RDISSSS KTM 690 public subscribed a day ago, 14 hours ago, he put. There's a pretty big difference between the old chassis and the new one on the 690. I guess in the U.S., the breaking point would be 2018. Same for the 701. I had a 690 2015 and tested my friend's 2018 701 with a Raid Rally Tower, and was blown away by how balanced it was in comparison. Okay.
So I think, I don't know if they made a change or not. I don't know. I wasn't into that bike. I mean, it's got a great motor. It's actually really good at on-road stuff, whatever. I did remember when I rode the one up at last year up in Idaho. I rode the one with the big tank, the long range, the Husky, the 701 with the Husky tank. And I came back and I said, that thing works better than I remember. Remember I said this?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was because they put that big tank on there and it changed the weight bias of the chassis. I didn't really get a chance to ride it aggressively and some other stuff. But, yeah, maybe there's a change. But talk about, the thing is, you make the unicorn bike. You know what the unicorn bike does? It does nothing great at one thing. It does everything okay and nothing great. And that's what they're trying to do with that motorcycle. And it was right up in the front running for my worst bike ever. But the only reason it didn't get there is because I've never had to work on one, because I don't really want to ride one that much, and I never had to work on it, and so I never spent that much time with it, because right away I identified, like, this thing has shortcomings in whether it's chassis or suspension, and a certain engine type, that it can't break out of the shell. It's kind of stuck and confined to the shell. But good, thanks for subscribing. We will enjoy your subscription.
At Digital Sam TV wrote a day ago, why this over the Honda CRF 450L? He's talking about the Cove. Why that over a 450L? Well, fuel tank and all that stuff.
About 4 gallons of gas.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little, 10% less power, 4 gallons of gas. They're probably both made in the same place.
What's the price point difference? Do you know?
Similar price.
Okay.
Yeah.
At Otto Feuerstein, one day ago, how often do you check the valve clearance? The manual says every 2,000 km or 30 hours. This specification destroys my dream of a perfect bike. Sad, what is it? A colon and a bracket, sad face. Normally, I buy a bike to ride it, not for maintenance.
Okay, Trevor, how much are you checking the valves on your, whatever you're racing, the Honda, for instance?
The R or the X?
Yeah.
They were just checked after Vegas to Reno, and one of them was a little tight.
Okay, and so you are checking that. How many hours do you think was on that? How many hours was on that before you checked it?
I would 520, 540. Close to like 100 race miles.
100
plus
race.
another 100 test.
Okay,
Eight,
so
800 race miles plus another 100 test miles. So probably
1,000 miles wringing the neck out of this thing. Well, you might have,
Yes.
so maybe you actually checked it within the required specification.
But like my 500, it calls for these kind of
Yeah,
tolerances. And what do we have? 500 and something hours on it. And I took the rocker gasket was leaking. It looked like the what did Victor call it? The the donut fryer or funnel cake fryer at the LA County Fair. That's what my motor looked like. So I finally changed it.
It wasn't even that bad.
We checked it, and one exhaust valve was like within specs, but kind of on one end. So you threw a shim, you change a shim.
It was enough. It was enough. We were like, we got this thing.
It's
You did half of the work. Let's just do it. Don't the
and
manuals
that's never being checked.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of them in there that I just rarely check. The only reason I check them if something starts going wrong, like they become hard starting or something weird like that.
Start talking to you.
Yeah, they make some noise or they get hard starting but I mean you really don't check things. You're racing them Trevor's racing them at the highest level. I'm riding the crap out of mine just for fun, and you kind of do it when you need to, but the manual numbers, if you want to, I don't know. It's just, I don't think we rode it. So we rode it. I don't even know how many hours we put on it when we rode back. I never really calculated it out. Probably, let's see, 4. Well, I know one day was 16 hours, but we're talking, there had to be 45 hours on it.
I think at some point you
never checked, never even crossed my mind.
You raise the likelihood of a human error failure by opening and closing in motors more than if you just let it talk to you and go in there when there's a problem,
Yeah.
And engineers, like you say, lawyers write all those manual specs
for the most part.
And engineers like to tinker, like to do that kind of stuff and obsess over it, and that's fine, but you don't have to live by that.
No. I don't, yeah, I think it's more of, just kind of be smart. And yeah, the manuals, if you want to be super analytical and anal about it, go ahead, but just do what you need to do.
Did you have more words on that, Trevor?
He's busy stuffing his face with pasta. What are you eating, Trevor?
No, some cereal.
Cereal? Were you doing breakfast right now? So you can stay up all night and work on your Yamaha 250 test?
Exactly.
Where you have to describe the motor that, doesn't suck?
Doesn't suck. Also, even like Jimmy, we rebuilt that YZ250 FX. And when I first brought it to you, with like almost 80 hours on the thing, the valves were like perfect. With 80 hours on 250F, with a lot of that's hard riding and racing too. So I think the modern four strokes in general are just so good these days that it's really not an issue where it was maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I'm sure all the alloys, the oils, and everything else is just improved over the 1960s.
Utah Desert Racer wants to know what the link is to the thing. Go to www.jimmylewisoffroad.com and just start clicking around. I don't know where it is. It's on the website. You just click things and it's
search tool works really good.
It says online courses. Yeah, search Jimmy Lewis Off-Road online courses and you'll get to the thing.
And subscribe to the newsletter and you'll get the first hint of when there's going to be a class. We got classes.
Oh, they're online. Yeah, they're on the website right now. We have classes spots available. Trevor, you can sign up.
When is it?
October.
Go to the website. Come on, Trevor. Put your spoon down.
Like that, yeah.
Put the bowl down.
I'll be in the middle of the 24-hour, but
okay. Then there's one on November 3rd and 4th or something. You can come to that one.
At Dave Denitis 5 days ago, he says, to be fair, how many of the other brands are made in China now?
A lot of them. Well, at least parts.
Yeah. Quattro Bahina 89545 days ago. By the way, this bike was probably built as a rally bike aimed at Dakar from the ground up. A key figure in the Cove Company, Zhang Zhu, I don't know if I pronounced that, it's common spelling, was born in a poor family and had hard time struggling to start his racing career. He's more of a hands-on blue-collar type, of person and genuine dirt bike lunatic. His passion was definitely critical to the birth of this project. China does have the technological ability to build a bike like this, as complicated as they are. Bikes cannot be much harder to produce than supersonic fighter jets, can they? But the manufacturer,
you asked if AI was writing stuff. That sounds like it grabbed a lot of text and specs.
Yeah, but the manufacturers generally don't have the willingness and determination to do so. They also don't have the buying power of a nation that's trying to defend itself to build the fighter jets. They're selling it to consumers. So for me, being built, this is him again. This is Quattro, whatever, Bajinga Jang.
Yeah.
For me, being built with racing in mind largely explains why its quality reaches such an insane level. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, good comment. Dan Kraus says, Jimmy, if you do the merch thing, how about a Jimmy's Weird Hats for Bald Guys collection? Shut up, Trevor. Hey, for everybody out there, if you haven't read Monkey Butt, this is a required reading. This is by Rick Simon. This is a big, thick book. Look at how thick it is. It has big print for all you old dudes. But even you young cats should probably go read this book because I'm writing Monkey Butt 2, which is the continuation of this book. It's the second chapter. This is Tall Tales Bench Racing, an inside story 30 years in the sport. So Rick Simon tells you how Dirt Bike Magazine got started, and what went on with the motorcycle media, and I'm going to write about the death of it.
And I know that's available on Amazon, but make sure if you're going to buy it on Amazon that you click through by using dirtbiketest.com's Amazon link and get your copy of Monkey Butt.
Yeah, get your copy of Monkey Butt. Yeah.
Okay.
Great book.
Corporal Andrews, 6 days ago, the Cove brought me to you. Great session, good info. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You. At Roland Cooper 809, 4 days ago, I downloaded the Love 450, he said it, Love 450 Rally Owner's Manual from the USA website to find out maintenance specifications. I saw the oil changes were 2,000K, blah, 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 30 hours, and the valves checked at the same interval. Is that an extremely short interval for this type of engine? Also, only 1.6 liters of oil in the engine.
1.6 liters of oil. Trevor, how much engine oil did you put in your Honda 450 that nearly won
800 cc's or something?
The Vegas to Reno, except it actually won the Vegas to Reno because the guy that was supposedly racing the bike never got on the bike. How much oil was in that motor?
I want to say 1,150 cc's.
Okay, so 1,600 is enough.
Yeah, that's 500. That's 500.
500 more.
For those that don't know.
Yeah,
we did that much math in school.
500
right?
cc's is a lot of oil. If you haven't checked it out lately.
Anyway, then he goes on. Maybe this is more of the race bike than an adventure bike. Does it use premium fuel, 93 octane or better? Question mark. What am I missing here?
What are you missing? Okay,
riding. That's what you're missing because you're on the fence. Get off the fence.
You guys are downloading manuals, checking specs, and I get this. You're super into it and everything. It's just like they probably watched 100 different YouTube videos and somehow they came across mine. So when we rode it the whole time, yes, we put premium gas in it, except for the 4 or 5 times we came to gas stations that only had 87 octane, and we poured that into it too. We're one of the few outlets that actually measured the fuel capacity.
And if it pinged, you probably backed off the throttle a little, but it probably never pinged, right?
I didn't hear it ping.
Yeah, there you go.
So
okay, at Dion Oliveira, 4058, 6 days ago, the best way to take care of the cat is to take it off. Great review.
Okay, so we didn't take the cat off because we are testing a motorcycle as provided to us by the manufacturer. Taking the cat off generally is going to affect something else upstream. So more than likely the fuel ratio delivery and stuff that can't compensate for you cutting the cat off. Just like on your car, you cut the cat off on a car, it doesn't necessarily run better. Maybe on some old carbureted things and stuff like that, but these are all systems. And if I was going to start going to that level, and yes, if I wanted more performance, I would make sure the cat was not on that motorcycle. If I was tasting it in race conditions, it would have a respectable sound decibel muffler with a freer flowing exhaust. but we didn't test it like that. We tested it in its basically pre-production form. So no, didn't cut it off.
At the Red Dirt Rider 6 days ago, how does it do for highway time? I think that's been asked and answers in a couple of shows.
Watch the damn video.
Yeah.
It's like we talk about this on the video. I mean, we're not road bike test.
Yeah.
We rode it on the dirt most of the time, but I show video of it riding down the road. We spent plenty of time on the highway. I mean, we did a significant number of miles on the highway. Time-wise, it wasn't that much because the highway miles went by really quick, even though it was like 3-hour stints to get, down here and different things. But hey, Trevor, are you glad you can answer all these questions?
I know so much about these bikes.
I know. Like, how come you don't do motocross and in Grand Prix, District 37, Big Six, Best in the Desert Talk Tuesday? Go compete with me.
No one cares. No one cares.
Man, this next question at Thomas Squell 91, whatever, it's the same. I don't think that was. Yeah, it was. Same question. Never mind. Now into the Tenere, apparently. At AZ Mountain Thumper. Arizona Mountain Thumper. A day ago. It's been edited. Would a G2 throttle tube help with your drivability issue? Now, is this Tenere?
Yeah, it's the Tenere.
I use one on my WR 450LF to tame the twitchiness after going to the competition ECU. Tuning the ECU and the G2 throttle tube softened the initial power delivery to my liking. Sounds like you may need to go the other direction. Different cam on the throttle tube.
So surprisingly enough, this is exactly what I did. I contacted G2. They make a more aggressive throttle pull wheel. So it's a really bitchin' billet aluminum with Teflon inserts throttle tube. And if you start talking about things that make a difference, it's things like this. You can't see this. You put a grip on it, you never know what's in there. But instead of being plastic, it's aluminum. So it has less of a chance of cracking and breaking, although you can dent an aluminum throttle tube and it can become a little bit problematic. But it has Teflon sliders inside there. It's a really nice piece, and they changed the cam profile of the pull wheels on the throttle tube. So it's more aggressive. Does it work? I put it in there and I'm liking it. But I will tell you, I always thought that I was going to smooth power out by putting less aggressive throttle wheels in. And I did a bunch of stuff where I was always throwing these in there and it never seemed to help. When I put a more aggressive throttle tube in bikes that I thought had aggressive or snappy power, it actually mellowed them out. And
puts more fuel in it quicker.
This is something. If this is causing you to, if your brain's spinning right now, ask a question in the comments. Go into the question in the comments, ask it, or especially on the YouTube video or the Facebook, mostly the YouTube video. Ask me to dive in because I can spend a little bit of time on there, and it can really help you out with something that's kind of simple. You don't have to get into it, but I have one on my Tenere. I think I'm liking it, but the problem is I also have a different mapped ECU, and I have to go back to the stock one to get the problem I had to see if this corrects it without the ECU. So this is why we test one thing at a time, and now I'm testing two things at a time, and so I now have to undo one to test the other, vice versa.
Is this throttle issue, is this what... Remember when you jumped over something and almost bit it? That's what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
cool.
Yeah,
you need to do a separate little deal just on that.
That video that you shot, it hasn't got like
likes.
it hasn't got 3.2 million videos likes, but it's in there. It's in it.
I shoot pretty good video. I'm Japanese, half Japanese. At Thomas Hogg.
I thought you were Chinese because you're a lot cheaper.
No.
Okay.
At Thomas Hogg 7451 6 days ago. Jimmy, could you please post the link? Come on with Google search. Could you please post the link to the homepage of the company who sells these flex handlebars?
Fasst Company, www.fastco.com. I'm going to make sure. I'm going to check that thing.
I would have loved to have these on my bike during the last year's tour of Idaho. I suffered a lot of risks. Thomas.
Fastco.com. Just search Fasst Company, Fastco, flex handlebars. Just search Jimmy's favorite handlebar, and it comes up, and because I'm doing TikTok videos where I'm dancing with them kind of naked but not really totally naked, and I put like bling on and I dance with them, all the stuff the kids are doing.
At Two Wheel Drive Stroke, The first episode,
Speaking
200
of
in a
dancing
row.
nearly naked.
Ha ha ha. Okay, we had a disclaimer at the beginning because tonight's show was also the 200th episode, if you believe the intro printed stuff. But we're
Right.
at 204, 203. Anyway, at Sean Casey, 7090, 5 days ago. $4.99. Thanks. That must be the dirt bike school, huh? The videos.
Yeah.
Okay, at Roland Cooper, 809, 4 days ago. Sorry, posted on wrong Taco Tuesday talk.
This you're wrong for even watching this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something's wrong with it.
Something. Yeah, I'm sure the other Taco Tuesday is some chef guy that's like, he's got a six pack and he's all ripped out cooking tacos and stuff. I'm working on that. That's why we're on Old Guys Moto Fitness, because everybody's wondering what I'm doing to keep myself in such awesome shape. But that's called the Jimbo program, and you have to follow me on my personal Instagrams to figure out how that works.
And that's where we are. I think we're going off script now.
Oh yeah. Oh no, we're not going to do Rooster Enders.
Who do we have? Is anybody even live out there watching this thing?
Usually there's a thing that shows this, but yeah, because there's someone says, did you guys know that the Copo Camaro does not come with a VIN number, so there's no way to make it street legal in any state with an unhappy face?
The
Did you know that?
Copo what?
Copo Camaro. Do you know this, Trevor? That sounds like your league of things.
Sounds like that club Desi Arnaz used to sing at in I Love Lucy or something. Or was that Copacabana?
Yeah. Jason Abbott's still watching. He wants me to talk about Can-Ams. Jason, I want to ride that electric Can-Am, and I want to ride the all-wheel drive one when it starts coming out. Let's see. Your review was spot on, says Radar ADV. 1 week on the Cove, and I sold my T7 and WR250 for a light ADV. It's stellar. Well, Radar ADV, I have to completely disagree with you getting off the Blue Crew, number one, because they are a sponsor of this show.
But he ought to call in next show and talk about that.
Right.
Call in and let's hear I want to hear what the facts are that made him switch.
If you have that Covo Cabana Carrero, go to Arizona, because Puffy says they'll make anything street legal. And we got a few people in there that are live. There's people that are out there watching,
good.
George.
Where are they from? Everybody post up where they're from.
Yeah. What's a good 125 two-stroke for MX on a budget? The aluminum frame YZ125s are overpriced in my area. Well, Asher Lito, who's back, by the way, back from Bible study.
Oh, he was the one that
He
checked out.
had to check out for Bible study.
A lot of catching up.
Yeah, there's
You got to go back and watch it. There's a big reveal.
Big show.
Yeah.
Big show tonight.
Jimmy was overserved.
So the YZ125 is not overpriced because it's such a good bike. I have a 2005, and I'm literally thinking about buying a new one. I've seen a couple of them come up, but I'd almost go and buy a new one, because you think about how much life and use I've got out of that thing for that much time, and the price is the price, and I don't know if the used bike's going to come down that much. There was a MIC Synopsis this weekend symposium.
The price is the price.
The price
Says
is
the
the
guy
fun.
with a sugar mama. Trevor, you got experience with these bikes, don't you?
I love a YZ125. I
And-
don't care what year it is.
Why?
You can't go wrong.
But they're worth what they're worth. I mean, it's like, I think if you're paying like $6,500 for a used one that's in decent shape, that's pretty fair. Yeah, these days. Because what are they,
yeah.
seven? What are they, seven? They're 75 by the time you're out
70.
the door.
Yes, it's like 73, 75 probably out the door.
And Ashley
Yeah.
says, I'm working with 2 to 3,500, and all the YZ125s here are 4K and over. Yeah. Save the $500. Actually come out and work for me for like 3 days doing motorcycle related projects. And I'll get you that $500.
Which includes getting the weeds out of the driveway.
Yeah, it's a little bit of weeds. You got to take the weeds out, and then we're going to do some siding on some buildings, a little roofing. There's a couple things. Pet the cat. We have to pet the cat a lot.
I was looking for a hoe earlier. I don't know if you knew that.
Well,
for the weeds, though.
No, you got to go down the street and take a left.
Not that kind of hoe.
Yeah, go down the street and take a left. But hey, Trevor, thanks for going out and riding dirt bikes all day for free. Using my good name and fortune. Did they miss me out there, or were they glad I didn't show up?
Oh, Stevie was bumming that you weren't out there.
Did he want to race me again?
Yeah, I think he wanted you and Hoffman.
He wanted Happy Scott and Grumpy Jimmy.
No, grumpy everyone.
I think Stevie wants to come out and do some trail riding with me.
He's asking about something. What was he? He asked me about something about you.
Oh, about
going out there.
my WR maps.
Maybe.
Yeah, but yeah, and then maybe there's some Tenere stuff happening. There's lots of things going on. So hey, we got people from Idaho, Pennsylvania, Indio. Is Indio?
I'm
place?
sorry about that.
Yeah, Lompoc. Yeah, I've got some people out here. So
cool.
Hey,
nobody overseas, I guess. It's cool when I see Australia or
they're
wherever.
in the future, so they really can't. It takes a while for their internets to come down.
Oh,
so.
Well, Pahrumps just in the past period.
Pahrumps one toilet flush away from Vegas, and
I went to Cactus Corners for ice. Oh boy, I forgot everything I love about Pahrump.
Coyote Corner.
Yeah,
Coyote
whatever.
Corner. So everybody, hey, thanks for joining in and watching. I'd like to again thank all of our sponsors, Double Take Mirrors. If you like to look at yourself while you're riding, I use them all the time. Trevor, you should start running a double take on your race bikes, because there's nothing more refreshing than just seeing the shit-eating grin you have on your motorcycle when you're just overalling best in the desert races.
So overalling, I win so many races these days.
Yeah, you should put those streamers like all over your body, that'll show where the wind's running, and you can watch those and see if you can be more aerodynamic by just shifting your body around.
Now that's a tech tip that tech tip. We're gonna do that tomorrow, but we're gonna do it with FlowViz, and you're gonna be naked, George. And the stringers too, but
those will be images you can never get out of your
that's why it's
brain.
going on my OnlyFans account. Bulletproof Designs. Hey, get your bulletproof stuff when you get your new bike, especially the radiator guards, because they bolt right up, they protect it. Then your radiators will never bend, or at least they won't get destroyed, and you don't have to try to put nice straight radiator guards on dented up radiators after you fall over. Hey, I have a video from this weekend that I'm going to post up, and there's going to be a Bulletproof Designs commercial for a radiator guard in the video. I don't want to say why. Fasst Company, Trail Tech, DDC, Climb wore awesome Climb vented gear this weekend. I was the most flowing guy out riding in the trails. Scott Sports, Taco Moto, Roosterendo. It may come back, it may not. And
if I have a bike for sale, will it come back?
Taco, Roost Endo are for sale, possibly. Yeah, we can put all your bikes that are for sale. Right now we're tripled up. We're 3 episodes deep, so the next one, if the bikes are good, there's somebody's going to win a lot of money. And of course, Yamaha, where Trevor says the bike bogged because all the journalists suck.
The bike bogged because I didn't turn the throttle far enough.
Yeah, that's what I was going to tell him. So. Anyways,
I'm glad you figured it out, though.
Hey, and one last question, because John Bailey just tripped across us on YouTube. He says, early CR 450X clutch pull remedy.
Don't use it.
Don't
just quit using it. There you go. That's my advice. You want another, Jimmy?
No, Trevor. Do you have a clutch pull remedy for the early ones? Because they're kind of the same. Actually, I think the new one, it lightened the pull a little bit, but
I put a Works Connection clutch perch on ours, and I think that helped. Like you even said it when we were riding the bike stock. It's a light pull, but it's kind of vague feeling. Like you don't really, especially compared to the RX with the hydraulic clutch. It was just kind of like you're pulling the lever in and out or whatever, but you couldn't really feel exactly when it was
the Honda clutch out of all the clutches is, we'll call it, a little bit vague feeling. On the old ones, and he says clutch pull remedy, so he's not paying too hard or too soft or whatever, but sometimes just levers, sometimes just something as simple as adjusting the position of where the lever starts engaging and disengaging can make a pretty big difference. So sometimes letting it come in a little bit closer to your fingers. I mean, most people are worried about bumping against their knuckles, but if your plates are good and everything, it doesn't take that much of a pull to actually get it to completely disengage. So play around with the positioning where the lever is. Then some different levers offer slightly different pivot positions. There's a lot of little things you can do that are just that are free. Then you can go to levers that are a little bit different. There's companies that make clutch arm extenders. Of course, you can go all the way to just getting a completely different clutch from something like Recluse. But I will tell you that the Honda of a lot of the bikes does benefit a lot from improved clutch components. mostly because they have a certain durability standard and a certain kind of feel that they like, and maybe it's not the best for everybody.
If it's what was his name?
That was John Bailey.
John Bailey. I got something here that it works in a lot of
George
things.
sticker.
No, it's if it's clutch effort, I'd say there's something out there. It's called triactin, and you should look into it. But triactin like a man and pull that thing in, okay? So that's my tech tip.
Hey, besides lubing the cable and putting some lube in the thing, we're gonna go ahead and sign off with that note. I really appreciate everybody joining in this show. Again, thanks to all our sponsors. Thank you, Trevor, for coming on and taking the heat like a man. I hope your cereal went well. Get to the damn
What
computer.
kind of cereal did you have, Trevor?
Fruit Loops.
Raisin Bran.
Oh, I like Raisin Bran. A lot of sugar, though.
Yeah.
Okay for a guy like you that's active and young.
Watch out for my tech tip that's going up tomorrow. Be sure to like and subscribe to that one. Double up on the thing because Trevor's going to put one up too. It's not going to be nearly as good. And with that, we are going to see everybody out in the trail. Cheers, guys.